Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm so close I could taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one of one.
My son's right about you.
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Great movie.
Tom Cruise.
You should have taken
All
those
right,
Cadillacs.
we are back at it. He should have taken those Cadillacs. Tom is quoting from the movie American Made with, what is it, Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise.
Phenomenal
Fantastic
movie.
As Barry Seal.
As
the,
Barry
pilot
Seal. Which, by the
importer.
way, another part of that, when it was the Iran-Contra, was done on the building we're in right now as we speak with Oliver North, but that's a different story.
Not as good as
Anyways,
Lex Grossman.
you just got tuned in today, guys. We are in 2025. Happy New Year to all of you. Rough start with what happened in New Orleans, obviously, as well as Vegas. We will definitely talk about that tragic event. Think about some people are out there just trying to enjoy themselves. And then boom, car comes out, does what it does. There's so many interesting things coming out with this story. We will definitely cover that. Couple other stories while that's going out. CIA workbook claims a 5-digit number can reduce pain signals. We will give you those 5 digits if you're having some pains recovering from your 2025 New Year's Eve. But we will share that with you. Literally, there's a number that they say if you keep repeating it, your pain goes away, which that's pretty insane, but we'll figure that part out. Steve Bannon welcomes escalation of MAGA civil war following Elon Musk's insulting American workers. Now, Mediaite says insulting Mediaite. By the way, they were here a couple of days ago just doing an interview with me. Mediaite editor-in-chief was here, but that's interesting, saying what they're saying about Steve Bannon. We will see that part as well. We'll talk about it. Biden administration handed big defeat in 9/11 mastermind case. Adams, this is Mayor Adams, claims subway violence, including horrific arson attack, overshadowed New York City's 2024 success on transit crime. Interesting. We'll see what that data shows. January 1st, California. Ready for this? They will ticket drivers who park near crosswalks. Let me read that to you one more time, folks. This is the logic of politics in California. Effective January 1st, California will ticket drivers who park near crosswalks. I would get 365 tickets that year if that was the case, me living in California. New California regulation requires insurance companies to offer coverage in high-risk areas. You know what happens when you do that, California? You force insurance companies to leave. Then people cannot buy houses because homeowners insurance goes up. But again, we'll talk about that as well. Xi says no one can stop China's reunification with Taiwan. No one is what he says. Drug cartels, according to Washington Times, drug cartels are now Mexico's 5th largest employer. Let me say that again. Drug cartels in Mexico are officially Mexico's 5th largest employer.
Can you put that on a resume?
I'm reading that, and it's just, you know, you have to read it a couple times for it to make sense to you. We'll cover that. Nearly all Puerto Ricans lose power on New Year's Eve, leaving 1.3 residents in the dark. Businesses are already prepping up for a Trump resurgence. AI data centers are causing distortions in the power grid from coast to coast. Americans predict challenges in 2025 with a few bright spots. Whitney Cummings, what kind of. I love what she did. Yeah. We have to show you this clip, what she did New Year's Eve, taunting Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, invoking Kathy Griffin, roasting CNN ratings, Disney, and more. Rob, if you got all the clips, I wouldn't mind showing all of them. David Letterman. By the way, the other day we talked about Kimmel and Fallon. It's interesting. We talked about Letterman and Leno just last Thursday. Yeah. Today's what? Today's Thursday. Today's Thursday. So Tuesday. It feels like Tuesday today.
It feels like tomorrow.
I literally didn't know what day it was.
Who are you? Who are we?
So,
New Year's, Christmas,
anyways,
what's going on?
We talked about it. Letterman then comes out and says, show business made him a worse person.
Really?
Found humanity living quiet life in Indiana. Okay, interesting. So
he looks like a caveman. He has a beard. That guy's freaking crazy right now.
This next one here, folks, if you're driving, put your hand 10-2. Okay, focus on the road if you're driving. Listen to this because it's almost not going to make sense. Teachers, school teachers, will no longer need to pass basic reading, writing, and math test for certification in this blue state.
Wait, so
teachers, your job is to teach.
Yeah.
But you're no longer required to pass basic, not advanced,
Not calculus.
Not calculus. Basic reading, writing, and math in this blue state.
I read good.
Who needs education when you got indoctrination?
More dumb ideas coming your way, folks, in blue states. FBI confirms a terror suspect, Shamsud Din Jabbar was flying ISIS flag. At first, they didn't want to say that. Later on, they did. You saw that one FBI lady that came out and
we have a clip of her. Oh, yeah.
New Orleans terror attack live updates. Terrorist made videos where he confessed to planning to murder his family, claimed he joined ISIS. And then Cybertruck filled with fuel and fireworks explodes at Trump Las Vegas hotel. However, the explosion was in such a way that it went up that, even Elon had to tweet. You sent that last night, sharing a tweet that he said, our team has investigated this whole thing. And
it's not the truck. Nothing.
Props to the product of Tesla because it went up instead of going side.
Oh.
And I know Tom's got a whole mechanical analysis on this to tell you guys on the engineering side.
Because he went online and got the degree last night.
So, having said that, Vinny's got an announcement for you guys. A new product is out for all the angry patriots out there. Go ahead, Vinny.
Well, we've been waiting for it for a while. We did a couple test runs, but boom, angry patriot, future looks bright on the side, and we got the American flag in black and white. And guys, this isn't like the normal, what are the ones that we have, Pat, that are like more golf? This is more of a flat brim. I mean, it still bends and it looks sick, and they're out. So if you want to rock the angry patriots, boom, Rob, link.
American flag on the side, the future looks bright on the other side.
On the side, nothing. The back is just regular, but it's like a 59.9. It's a sick hat.
This will go fast, guys. So if you want an angry patriot hat, go place the order. If you love Vinny, place the order of the hat.
Yahtzee.
Okay. All right. So let's get into it. I think the first story for us to start off with, I just think we have to get right into it, and that's the New Orleans Bourbon Street attack. At least 10 dead, 30 injured after driver plows into New Year's revelers on Bourbon Street in New Orleans. Rob, is it 10 or is it 11 now? Can you double?
15.
Yeah, it's up to 16, I believe.
Oh. Is it 16 now? Okay, so is it really 16 now, Rob?
It was 15 last night. I saw it in multiple news sources.
Can you check to see what the death toll is now? I thought it was higher than that. 15. Okay, death toll. Let's open that one up, Rob, if you could. So death toll rises to 15 in New Orleans, terrorism attack. The suspect in the deadly attack that killed 15 people and injured dozens of others has been identified by the FBI. Let me read a little bit more to see if we have any other facts on this one here. 35 injured. This happened, a truck rammed into crowds on Bourbon Street at 3:15 a.m., followed by a gunfight with police. The driver described as hell-bent on creating the carnage and the damage that he did. According to Superintendent Ann Kirkpatrick, was killed by officers. The FBI, which is investigating the incident as an act of terrorism, at first they didn't want to say it, but they eventually said it, revealed that at least one suspected improvised explosive device was found at the scene, although its connection to the driver remains unconfirmed. Witness Jimmy Cothran described seeing 8 bodies sprawled out on the street, adding dead right in front of us was someone's mother, twisted, obviously deceased. One man deceased had tire tracks across his back and stomach and was clearly crushed. A little girl, oh my God, a little girl that we had seen dancing was as flat as a pillow. That's even tough to read. Oh my goodness. And a ton has come out on this individual. Even one of the stories that came out on the addendum, Rob, if you want to play that clip on the New York Post site, FBI confirms terror suspect Shamsud Din Jabraz flying ISIS flag. Is that it, Rob, that he's flying the ISIS flag?
So this is the clip of the truck. I have it before it goes into the crowd if you want to show it.
Yeah, show
and then
before
I also
it goes into
have
the crowd.
Other B-roll of the truck as well.
Okay, let's see. Let's see some B-roll here.
So this is
That's 3:15 a.m.
This is just traffic on the side street.
And he's going to take a right here
Now let
shortly.
me ask you a question. What camera is so focused on that truck?
That's a
Why
very
is
good...
that camera following it? Why is the camera know to follow the white truck?
Well, see that's the barricade right there, PBD. Now watch what he does. He stops, and then he takes his hard right, and then boom, he's going. And now he's going.
I can't even look at that, man.
No, and now he's gone. He's going 80 miles an hour down a narrow street, and now they all know that.
But let me ask you, why, Tom? Why does the camera know to follow that?
I'd like to know whose footage this is. That's what I'd really like to know. Have they edited down into a square for us, maybe a security camera from across the street, or who is taking this and knows to take this? Or is this multiple
Because you know the Ring cameras, like you know those cameras that people are out there, or even the PZT cameras. Are the PZT cameras able for you to track something after the event? No, right?
Right. I don't know why it would, because there's multiple vehicles moving in the traffic on that street.
That's interesting. So what is this?
These are now the cameras that are outside of establishments, like, you know, watching your door or whatever.
And this is where he's driving 80 miles an hour and the people get out the way?
Everybody gets out of the way in this video, but yeah, you just want to see how quick
Go ahead, Rob.
Look at, oh my goodness, bro. Oh my God.
You see, that camera doesn't move, so that's an external security camera.
What?
Have you spent any time on Bourbon Street? Have you
Of
guys
course.
ever been there?
Yes,
of course.
Many times.
You know, I was there less than a year ago with Deli. We were filming on this exact street. And then that's just on a random day throughout the year. On New Year's,
Oh, man.
do you know how many people are out there reveling, having a great time? And this is what comes out of absolute nowhere.
And by the way, more people would have been killed further down the street, and nobody's pointing out. He struck a construction bucket loader. And that was the end of the
And this is it. Well, this is it right here, Pat. This is the shootout.
And we're not going to play the video because I don't want to put that out there, but we will play the audio so you can hear. This is as soon as he gets out of the vehicle, then you can hear the gunshots ringing out and people fleeing.
Go for it. So he's getting out?
Yeah. And those are him, because he got out. He had a gun. He had 2 guns, and he had devices on him. But as soon as he got out, they started shooting at him.
So do you have the clip of President Biden saying that the New Orleans attacker who killed 15 was inspired by Islamic State group? Do you have that clip?
Yes,
Go
sir.
for it.
The FBI also reported to me that mere hours before the attack,
he
posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill. The ISIS flag was found in his vehicle, which he rented to conduct this attack. Possibly.
Do you have the clip of him saying the things? Of what he's going to be doing? Like actual...
I don't know if they let them post that.
I've not seen that. I've seen multiple news sources talking about it, but I could not find the clip.
The only video that they have released is the video of him talking about being a realtor.
But this is years ago.
Yes, 2021.
And this, by the way, this guy was a former vet. I think he was stationed at the 82nd, if I'm not mistaken. And if you want to play the clip, go for it.
He's served in Afghanistan.
I'm Shamsuddin Jabbar, property manager with Blue Metal Properties and team lead at the Midas Group at Core Realty. I just want to say hello and let you know a little bit about me. So I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston. And I've been here all my life, with the exception of traveling for the military, where I spent 10 years as a human resources specialist and IT specialist, where I learned the meaning of great service and what it means to be responsive and take everything seriously, dotting I's and crossing T's to make sure that things go off without a hitch. So I've taken those skills and applied them to my career as a real estate agent, where I feel like what really sets me apart from other agents is my ability to be able to, one, be a fierce negotiator. So not only do I...
You can pause that.
But here's my question, though.
Yeah.
Seems like a rational business guy at this chapter of his life.
The president of the United States, who's obviously asleep behind the wheel, said on camera the FBI knew about this guy hours before ISIS and all that stuff. Where was the manhunt? Where was the, letting everybody know, giving everybody a heads up? It's like what is how many times are we going to have a conversation, Tom, where we're like, the FBI or all these people keep dropping the ball? If it's not about DEI seminars or Donald Trump, it seems as if nobody's working. That's my opinion. And then you're going to see the FBI chick in New Orleans talking about this isn't a terror attack. Did you see this? And look what's right underneath her. New Orleans dealing with the terrorist attack, and this is what the FBI says.
This is not a terrorist event. What it is right now is their improvised explosive devices that was found, and we are working on confirming if this is a viable device or not. As Chief Kirkpatrick said, we're asking everyone to stay away from Bourbon Street,
Why does she sound so
specifically from
nervous?
Canal Street to St. Anne.
Is she reading?
That is my ask.
Is that
Once again, stay away from Bourbon Street, Canal Street, all the way to St. Anne, until we can figure out what is going on.
Okay, so let me read this about her, about the killer. Jabbar served in the Army from 07 to 15, including the deployment of Afghanistan. Okay. And then later he joined the reserves till 2020. He posted videos referencing the Quran and claimed in 2020 YouTube video for his real estate business that the military taught him the meaning of great service. However, financial struggles, 2 divorces, okay, child support disputes, $16,000 in debt, left him in hardship. And his first wife was suing him for child support payment that he claims he was behind on. I think the number was $28,000 on whatever the number was. And then his business hadn't made any money this year, and he was struggling financially. But what I'm trying to find out is, how recent is this picture, Rob? Do we know? Because I saw this picture everywhere.
I think that's his passport picture.
It doesn't say here in this photo.
I'm pretty sure it's his passport.
Well,
Tom, what else do we know about this story?
This is a more recent photo.
What you just said is what I saw. And so at the same time where we had talked about that, you and I wanted the story 2 weeks ago, we want to know what happened in those missing 90 days for the gentleman that shot the CEO of United Healthcare, that there was this missing 90 days. What was going on in there?
Right.
Who was in his ear? What was happening? The same thing. I've read exactly what you read. And so I've made a little timeline of it. And so for the last 6 months, it appears that it's been high stress. He was in court on the child support hearing, like, where's the money? What's going on? The divorces were there. There was an alleged email that was circulated, I believe, by law enforcement that said that he sent to his ex-wife, look, I got to sell this house or I got to do this because, you got to be reasonable. So he was under great mental stress for the last 6 months should we say mental stress, financial stress. And did that lead him? So when people are under great financial stress and they feel hopelessness, sometimes they go off and commit suicide because life is so hopeless and everything that's going on. And did he get caught up with some people that got in his ear and were able to manipulate him, and to the point that he admires ISIS, and basically what he did this night was commit suicide? I read something further that said, was the reason that he didn't set off the explosive devices is because he hit the construction equipment. Like, was his desire to get to the end of the street and then set off those devices. So we don't know what his plan was for the end of the street. We only know that he hit the construction equipment that brought the speeding truck to a halt, and then he got out and started shooting, and they found the coolers with these devices. So I want to know who was in his ear, what was happening there, but he obviously became sympathetic toward ISIS and was under a great deal of financial stress. Did he break, lose it, and find, some sort of affinity with ISIS and then decided to take him out in this way?
So the comparison between him and the other fellow who did what he did with the Tesla, they both rented their cars from the same company, Toro, right? I think it's called Toro, if I'm saying it correctly.
That's correctly.
Toro. Okay. They both served in the same unit, which that doesn't mean anything because that's the 82nd, Fort Bragg. It's a big unit. Huge. It's not like there could be coincidences there. But the timing of it on what happened, you have to consider the timing of when it took place. The Tesla truck in front of Trump, there's even a picture of it. And I don't want to get into that story yet. We'll get into that. But all it is the link between the two stories that you have there. Vinny, what else do you have on this story?
Well, Ryan Ralph, also the guy that was at the golf course that was trying to shoot President Trump or trying to assassinate Trump, he visited Fort Bragg also 100 times. But it just, and Tom, it's all these coincidences. What makes someone who looked like a normal guy, he's making videos, he seems like the American guy, a veteran, what flips you like that? We always talk about what's in your ear, and it's like, they're at a military base, Tom, both of these guys, and we're going to get into that other story later. What makes somebody who is talking to these people, and it's not as if the government doesn't have programs to flip people, but it's like, what's the end goal? What is it for? And what really pissed me off about this thing, apparently this guy's mosque, the mosque that in Houston, Texas, put out a letter saying, directing its members not to speak to authorities. Why wouldn't you want them to talk to authorities about somebody that's there? This is the letter right there, Pat. You want me to read this?
Yeah, go for it.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. I'm sure many of you have heard about the tragic events that took place in New Orleans this morning that are now being classified as an act of terror, in quotes, by the FBI. I want to emphasize the importance that everyone stay very vigilant and aware of your surroundings. The safety of the community is the most important thing. If anyone is contacted by the media, it is very important that you do not respond If approached by the FBI and a response is necessary, please refer to CIAR, which is it's the Council on American Islamic Relations, and ISGH. It is crucial that we stay united at this time. We condemn these terrible acts. Please stay safe. I mean, why are you telling them not to talk to the FBI? Something is going on. You want to talk about it. I just think this is something deeper. This is just the beginning. Sean Ryan had Sarah Adams on his show a while ago, and she's a CIA. She worked for the CIA, and she's saying there are over, mind you, these are the homegrown guys, Adam. These aren't the people that were let into the border, like that one guy, the Azerbaijan terrorist, that was like, soon you will know my name. This is, and I'm not trying to fearmonger everybody. I'm just telling everybody, stay alert, stay aware, because besides this 20, like, who knows what's going to happen before the 20th, but this is not going to stop. This is just the beginning.
Yeah. It's easy to look at a situation like this and blame it on radical Islamic terrorists, right? That's on the surface level. Hey, this is what this is. I actually think that is the last piece of the puzzle. I think that is the icing on the cake. Because if you look at what's happening with this guy, born in America, lived in Texas, served in what, the Army?
10 years, and then National Guard.
So National Guard, to me, it's the exact opposite. Whether it's a school shooter, whether it's these radical extremists, whether it's mass murderers, there's a lot going on. Dark triad type of personalities, narcissism, psychopath, Machiavellianism, and then the collective issues that they have, personal grievances, victimhood, nobody's looking out for me, injustice, revenge, playing the blame game, going through a divorce, financial issues, psychological issues, mental health, depression, social isolation, all these things that these people are dealing with, right? Oftentimes they write a manifesto. All these things that are going on, living in echo chambers, and then you get online and you look for a solution and you get into social media and boom, you watch a video of ISIS. Oh, maybe this is what it is. So you sprinkle out a little jihad, you sprinkle a little Islamism out there, and then that is what motivates you to act. So I don't go right to it's just jihad. I think that is the end game to
Pat,
what happens.
Do you know, like I said, it's just starting. And Tom, I know you want to say something, but the FBI just seized the most bombs it's ever seized at someone's house. There's 150 homemade pipe bombs, the largest stockpile of explosives recovered. Brad Spafford's Virginia farm. The pipe bombs were preloaded into a vest. He was preparing for a large-scale attack, and he lost 3 fingers, idiot, making the bombs. And he used a photo of Biden and Harris for target practice, and he made threats following the Trump shooting, and he also planned to mount a 50 caliber turret on his property and start shooting at all the cops and everybody that's coming. Something is going on. Something is brewing. I don't know what the hell it is. Call it something's in the air, but I'm telling you right now, it's not going to stop. I've been saying this for a long time.
PBD, you mentioned something about, or maybe it was something he was contemplating suicide. Someone said something about suicide.
So,
well, that is suicide.
Yeah, what was that?
That was my summary comment, that it is not uncommon for people that feel ultimate hopelessness to be contemplating suicide, and was, this aligning with ISIS, going, God, these people are oppressed just like me. These people, wow, maybe I'm just angry at everybody. I'm angry at the world. I'm depressed. 2 divorces, all the stuff we've talked about that you're facing under that precious, under that pressure, he broke and thought ISIS is the way out. And then goes speeding down the street, basically committed suicide.
Yeah, what I'm wondering is, and I'm not making any sort of mockery of this, is I wish he would have just committed suicide.
No, yeah. Well,
so these people that feel the need to take out innocent people, whether it's Sandy Hook killing kids, whether it's going to school, Parkland, the Pulse nightclub, all these things. So you take out innocent people as if that's the solution.
And they
it's
feel
so
like,
disgusting. It's so dark. It's so
I feel
evil.
like the suicide is also a statement. We've seen that in some of the writings of some of the
I wish that
shooters.
was the statement he made. There's people celebrating New Year's,
we don't
living
know.
their best life, and on the side of a street.
We don't know. The search of his house and everything shows that he was destitute. There was bills that they found. It was a disgusting place.
Yeah.
The guy was in a very dark place.
You know what's crazy is just last year, Tuesday, we spoke about how the chart I showed about how people become homeless, right? And I said, how does it get to being homeless? What are the 7 things before becoming homeless, right? How does a person get to this level here? What are the 7 steps prior to you getting to this point, right? been in business for a long time. We get a lot of weird calls. When you're paying out life insurance policies, you find out what the cause of death was. Heart attack, stroke, accident, suicide. We had multiple stories of agents that would come back and you would hear stories. Hey, suicide. What caused it? What caused somebody to get to a point like this? And in many cases, there are signs to look at and say, wow, this guy was really going through it. And in those moments, these guys sometimes have nobody to talk about. They think, and then if somebody gets a hold of you in that moment and they give you encouragement and say, hey, you know, whatever ISIS may be put, because another person who was psychoanalyzing this saying that the methodology of what he did aligns very well with what ISIS teaches in their playbook. Because right now the ISIS playbook is built in a way that you don't have to go to where they are for them to train you. They have videos to teach you of how to do things like this. It's spreading like in a way that, and by the way, I don't want to fear monger. When's the last time you heard an ISIS story?
What do you mean? 4 years ago?
Exactly. So what's the point here? So it happened still under whose reign? Biden's reign. This has been a rough last 30 days for Biden with everything that's going on legacy-wise, one after another after another. Let's go to the one in Vegas, Rob. So in Vegas, there's a Tesla, truck parked outside of Trump Tower, one of the Trump hotels, which we stay at that hotel all the time. It's a great hotel. And you see this clip here. Is this the explosion, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's see this one here. Go for it.
Jeez.
Copy.
Is it confirmed that he's the one that's dead? Is the army guy that it was he in the car?
Let me read you what I got, and then we'll get into it. So, by the way, the same guy, a Tesla Cybertruck filled with fuel canisters and firework mortars exploded outside of the Trump Hotel in Las Vegas, killing the driver and injuring 7 people. Las Vegas Sheriff Kevin McMahill said the truck started to smoke, then exploded, and dramatic footage of the explosion shows bursts of multicolored fireworks shooting in multiple directions. Investigators are exploring if there are any links to the deadly New Orleans attack where 15 died. He noted, obviously a Cybertruck, the Trump Hotel. There are a lot of questions that we have to answer. The FBI is investigating the incident as a possible act of terrorism. Special Agent Jeremy Schwartz said, I know everybody's interested in that word and trying to see if we can say, hey, this is a terrorist attack. That is our goal, and that's what we're trying to do. However, they have not found any evidence connecting the explosion to the Islamic State. Is this the fellow saying that, Rob? Is this the same thing that I just read or something else?
This clip right here is them discussing the evidence that was found in the back of the Cybertruck and why more people weren't injured when the Cybertruck
Let's watch
exploded.
this. Let's watch
The
this.
fire initially, they covered it with the tarp to try to get it to go out. Once the fire went out through the suppression efforts of the fire department, you'll see some of the evidence in the back of the vehicle. So those are gasoline canisters. They are camp fuel canisters and large firework mortars.
Look at the side of the Tesla. Nothing happened to it.
Nothing, bro. Wow.
What I also would like you to pay attention to on that video, as you see that, it looks like the exterior of that truck is completely intact as it sits there. The fact that this was a Cybertruck really limited the damage that occurred inside of the valet because it had most of the blast go up through the truck and out. In fact, if you look on that video, you'll see that the front glass doors at the Trump hotel were not even broken by that blast, which they were parked directly in front of. You
That
can see
is
that in the
unbelievable.
video there.
Tragic event. Unbelievable commercial for Tesla, by the way.
Okay, that's the design. When you put a bomb like that, you want to you have 3 things. You have the heat and fire of the blast. You have then concussion, and then you create everything around it becomes projectile. The glass breaks on the front of the windows, and that becomes projectiles that just has a horrible effect on people nearby. And here you have the law enforcement stating, look, the front windows weren't even broken.
And what's he saying here, Rob?
This is where they credit Elon Musk. Elon Musk helped investigators determine who the driver was by tracing down the route that he went through the different Tesla supercharging stations. He also helped them get inside of the vehicle because the vehicle locked once it exploded.
That's some data for
Play
you.
the clip.
I have to thank Elon Musk specifically. He gave us quite a bit of additional information in regards to how the vehicle was locked after it exploded due to the force of the nature of the force from the explosion, as well as being able to capture all of the video from the Tesla charging stations across the country, and he sent that directly to us. So I appreciate his help on that.
And because of the diagnostics of the car, he said yesterday this wasn't a vehicle thing. He said it's either fireworks and or a bomb that was in the back.
Let me ask you a question, Tom. I got a question for you with that one right there. So what information did Elon give to the authorities?
The authorities are stating that they received the public security camera footage from the Tesla supercharger stations.
The public.
Yeah, this is well, it's private. It's private footage maintained by Tesla, but it's their own security cameras that monitor their charging stations.
And then what other information did the Tesla give to the authorities?
Apparently, he helped them unlock the car and also helped them with, I guess, who the registered owner
after the explosion,
or who rented it. Yeah,
after the explosion took place. Okay,
that's what the authorities were saying.
Right. So, how different is that than what happened with Apple and Tim Cook when they asked them to give the information on the phone at the San Bernardino shooting, whatever that shooting was 12 years ago. I think it was maybe 10 years ago. Can you see when that shooting was, Rob? The San Bernardino shooting was when?
It was definitely under Obama. I want to say 2015.
Yeah, where he didn't give that over. Yeah. The FBI requested Apple create software to the suspect in the December 2015 shooting. The FBI wanted the software to accept that to correct when was found. So can you go back, and I want to see what was given to him. Can you go back to that sheriff to see what was given to that clip? And what did he say was given? Is it just basic information, or?
I have to thank Elon Musk specifically. He gave us quite a bit of additional information in regards to how the vehicle was locked after it exploded due to the force of the nature of the force from the explosion, as well as being able to capture all of the video from the Tesla charging stations across the country, and he sent that directly to us. So I appreciate his help on that.
Okay. So it's not.
Yeah, it's not personal stuff inside the vehicle. It's just like, hey, listen, we know where this guy was.
But think about how helpful that is. It says, hey, we've got video from the charging stations, our public cameras are out there in public.
That's super helpful.
And saying, was he alone or not? So, I don't know what Elon said, but you could say whether there was one person, two person in the truck, which would the guy look like?
Super helpful.
Very helpful, because you want to know, just like, well, New Orleans is, they believe by security camera that there's up to 3 or 4 other people in New Orleans that are planting devices, right? So Elon Musk is helping them. Hey, here's the charging station stuff. So you
ever seen a movie, Horrible Bosses? Have you ever seen a movie, Horrible Bosses? Of course. Rob, have you seen a movie, Horrible Bosses?
Just Charlie Day, Jason Bateman.
You haven't seen it? Really? You haven't seen it?
Jason Sudeikis? What?
Okay. So at the end of the movie, when he's outside, Kevin Spacey, and he's saying what he's saying.
Of course.
And the car is recording what he's saying. I don't know if you remember that scene.
Yeah, of course. It's like the ending scene, how they basically get him.
The car is recording and hearing what he's saying. Then when the cops show up, the car repeats everything that he said. Kevin Spacey said, obviously it's comical when this is taking place. But a little bit of a interesting angle here of what types of information Tesla is going to have, because it's a computer driving around. So a Tesla, if you decide to do something with a Tesla, hey, they're going to find out what you're doing, essentially, especially because they have all this intel to be able to say, he said, to track the driving, like what areas they went through. That's kind of like the phone, right? Find my iPhone or whatever it is.
Yeah, he gave Jake messaged me. He gave them telemetry check showing that all systems were green before the explosion. So everything is basically on file of what your car is doing.
Yeah, there's
all in a computer.
There's a monitor inside a camera inside. So the way that the autopilot works for the computer for the Tesla, You have to have a monitor inside that's recording you at all times, and it actually monitors your eyes to make sure that your eyes are on the road. If you divert your eyes from the road, say you look down at your phone, the system inside the car will notify you so that you then have to manually steer the vehicle. So there's always a camera running inside of the Tesla vehicle at all times.
How do you feel about that?
Especially with all the crazy stuff you do in your car.
No, I'm just curious. How do you feel about it?
I don't like it. But unfortunately, I've traded the ease of convenience for privacy. I'd rather be able to drive automatically, and I just know that everything that I'm saying inside of that car is being recorded. It could be accessed at any point.
How long does it take until the world accepts Minority Report? How long
predictive
until
analytics, predictive.
How long will we fight it until it becomes acceptable? Let me ask the question one more time.
Yeah, of course.
How long will we fight it until it becomes acceptable?
Fight what exactly?
I was just going to say,
Fight
at
what?
what
I mean,
level?
predictive analytics?
He says, I traded my privacy for convenience. What was the word you used? Convenient?
The ease of convenience.
Ease of convenience.
Just like security,
I
when
think
they're
it's
like
happening, right?
Just like with the Patriot Act, they're like, listen, because of terrorism, we need to monitor you. How long? How long till it gets to that?
We learned during COVID that in 2020, when I think Tesla hit, a $1 trillion market cap, and I think they've been up and down since then. I know they had a rough start to 2024, and I think they're bouncing back. But were they a car company? Were they a green energy company? And someone goes, no, they're a data company. They collect your data. Look at this now. But by the way, I vividly remember the 2015, 2016 San Bernardino shooting when Tim Cook refused to open up the iPhone. On this particular situation, why did you make that correlation, PBD? Because I know that's something that you were
No.
considering.
To me, where I'm going to is I'm going to the area of thinking, okay, 3 weeks ago, we're doing a podcast. And if you remember on that podcast, what had happened where I read that the drones. Remember when the drones attack happened?
Of course.
Then I explained the story of the guy that said anytime you're seeing UFOs or stuff like this that's happened, it's a psyop to be able to get the next Patriot Act, the next whatever act that they want to get in there to say, see, we need this because with this, and we're going to all this. We need this in order for us to be able to, I don't know if you remember when we talked about that 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Encroachment on your rights.
I don't know. I think we have to be, we have to catch the bad guys and identify exactly what happened and get to the bottom of it. But at what cost to convince the rest of American people to say, hey, if you all comply and allow us to record all your behavior, we will be able to prevent future crimes from taking place and we can eliminate all this stuff. Then imagine everything is like, right now you can be talking and an ad pops up because you were talking about it with your wife, and so you're already being watched and heard 24/7, whether you know it or not. Alexa, phone, Siri.
Everything.
Tom, you were going to say something.
No, you just made the point, and I was going to add to that. The Nest thermostat said, and we have a motion detector on it. So if you're not in the room or that side of the house, we'll let we won't have your air conditioning or heating working that hard. We'll let it go down a couple degrees. Well, then they found out that it was actually a camera that was in their Nest thermostat. So it's exactly what you're talking about. So your Nest thermostat's got a camera, your Alexa's got a thing, and they're thinking about ad targeting. So they're thinking about how do we sell you more and the advertising targeting, exactly what you're talking about. But a short step from that is NSA, basically, the evil sister of the FBI, basically has all that information on citizens. So now you have citizen surveillance, and that's what you're talking about. And I think one of the answers to it is we are right now losing more privacy with every technical generation. Oh, by the way, Samsung refrigerators that know what's in the refrigerator, and they have that panel on the front of the refrigerator, so that with every technological innovation, you are already losing. And if you don't think that the NSA and the FBI are looking for ways to accumulate information on citizens, they're not waiting for a terrorist attack. That's how they passed the legislation like the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
But they're already out there collecting the data.
Listen, this is Humberto just sent this. Yes, Tesla vehicles regularly send information back to Tesla servers, including operational diagnostic data, which helps them improve their systems and diagnose potential issues. However, most camera recordings are processed within the car and only upload it with the driver's consent through the data sharing settings, usually only in the event of a collision or the safety concerns, other safety concerns. So they're asking you and you're letting them, which is great. It's totally fair. Like, you know, whole the thing with Facebook, the ads and Google, and hey, you never gave that permission. It just, they did it, right?
Yep.
And then it went into the permission. So it's not like they're not compliant. All I'm saying is gradually you're like, well, what's the big deal? What's the big deal? What's the big deal? Oh, shit. What was the big deal?
Yep.
Damn.
You're done.
Every behavior. So, look, of course, we want to know exactly what happened here, and we want to get the intel of what happens here. But it has to, the way massive change happens is the temperature goes, guilt, boom, you break. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't handle this embarrassment. You got me. Yes, do it. And we're like, no, what are we doing? No. And no matter who the person is, no, I'm not with it. I'm not, listen, respect, great job, awesome on all your success. I'm not going there. That's when we're not going. I don't know. This part to me, I want to know the link between the two, if there's any. The other event happened at 3:15. Rob, when did this event happen? Do we know the exact time of this event and how different the times time are between the two? Because one of them, it looks like it was bright.
Yeah, one was in
daylight.
Looked like the daytime.
You know.
And Pat, why
8:39 a.m. But that's the West Coast time, so it would have been 11:30 our time.
So 11:30. So 11, and the other one is New Orleans. Is New Orleans Central or is New Orleans
Central.
East Coast?
Central. 1
Central.
hour behind.
So if New Orleans is 1 hour behind,
Yeah, it was 4
and that's
a.m. our time.
8:30, so it's 1:30, so it's 5 hours. So New Orleans happened. No, it's the other way around. New Orleans happened first.
Yes.
Then the other one happened 6 hours later, if I'm not mistaken, give or take.
Correct.
So New Orleans, Tesla, 6 hours later.
Yes.
I don't know if that 6 hours is.
Oh, are you saying there's some sort of correlation with these two?
You have to consider it, and you have to look at the, the what is the word, the idea that it happened that closely to each other. I have to look at those.
I guess the question I have are these lone wolves looking for soft targets?
I don't
Is there
believe
some sort of.
I don't believe. I don't believe that these things just happen randomly. Like, you know what the symbolism of driving the car of the guy that's coming into Trump's cabinet, one of the main guys that's controversial as hell, parking that vehicle in the front of Trump, like in front of Trump's hotel, and you being a stupid moron that's the most metal around the truck thing is. By the way, this guy's 37 years in the Army veteran. He was in Special Forces or whatever the hell he's in.
The guy from the Tesla?
The guy in the Tesla.
So do they know who he is?
Yes. His name
we've
is.
heard all about the guy that did the
His
New
name
Orleans
is
thing.
Matthew Livelsberger from Colorado Springs. The guy
You said that he served in the Army as well?
Army
In the same unit?
Well, he was from Fort Bragg. Same
Is that the same-
base.
Guys,
Same
a
base.
lot of soldiers, like
okay.
a small city.
Yeah,
No,
it's
no,
a small
I get it.
city.
I
It's
get
like
it. but
saying
they-
I'm from the same city of 30,000 people.
Yes.
Some number
I
like
get
that.
it. I
but-
get
but-
it.
but
But
when
the same day, same time.
Well, hold on, but
Truck.
Tesla, Trump in the front, but you use that car like what a dumbass.
52,000 soldiers at Fort Bragg, just so you
Yeah,
guys know.
that's a small
That's a
city.
city.
But they
It's a
know who
city.
he is, this guy. Matthew Livels,
Yeah.
whatever.
I want my thing.
Okay,
is
but
Adam,
he killed himself. Is he the only person that died?
he was in the car. He was the one that died.
And nobody else died?
No.
Well, good.
Well, but the intention of what he was trying to do, and you nailed it, Adam. What's the purpose? What's this simultaneous? This doesn't happen just by randomly. These both guys that are doing this type of acting, they're both veterans of the
Are they
Army.
both the same age, Rob? Because Matthew,
They're 5-year difference because Matthew's 37 and the guy from New Orleans is 42.
5 years apart.
Is there any
so,
indication
got it.
that this is anything with Islamic extremism or ISIS? Is there anything with that? Because we know a ton on this other guy.
This guy, we
don't know anything about him?
They don't know yet.
What do you mean they don't know yet? They know everything on this other guy.
Well, that's the point. Here's my thing, Adam.
They raided his home. I have a news clip if you want to
Okay,
hear
Yeah,
that.
this
go
is the
show
Vegas
that.
guy. What's this?
Yeah, he lives in so he originally lives in Colorado Springs. The vehicle was rented out of Colorado on Turo, and here is the news outside of his home.
Okay,
as
so
this
one
was
guy is
raided.
Texas/New Orleans, and the other guy is completely
Yeah,
Colorado.
I think that besides the
Vegas?
Fort Bragg connection, the other big connection here is the Turo app. It's not an app that's used in every state. Not every state, not every city has access to the Turo app. It's still rolling out and in development. I don't know if you guys have ever used a Turo app. It's basically like using enterprise rental car through an app.
Yeah.
But you're renting people's
People's
personal
cars.
vehicles.
Yeah, it's a personal
not like an actual company's vehicle.
Yeah,
Vinny,
it's-
if I want to borrow Vinny's Toyota Celica or whatever.
Corolla.
Have a little respect.
I would use the Turo app to rent it. But
It's
here's the-
Airbnb for cars.
Exactly. Here's the
you
news
go.
reporting on the raid of the guy's home.
And yeah, she's cute.
Go ahead.
I'm Maggie Bryan on the east side of Colorado Springs, where the FBI is investigating a townhome they say is linked to the driver of the Cybertruck that exploded in Las Vegas Wednesday morning. Several law enforcement officials confirmed 37-year-old Matthew Livelsberger died in the vehicle. Officials also confirm he lived in Colorado Springs. Now, El Paso County records point to several addresses linked to him. The FBI says this home is one of them. It's near Stetson Hills Boulevard and North Mark Shuffle Road on the east side of the city. Our team saw FBI agents out here for several hours Wednesday evening, many of them leaving, though, around midnight. This vehicle behind me, one of the last ones left. It's now 1:15 in the morning. This home is about 3 miles away from a Colorado Springs police substation, where we saw a few armored vehicles in the parking lot Wednesday night. An FBI agent here on scene tells me they expect to be back out here on Thursday morning. We'll keep you updated with any more information that we learn on air and online at KOAA.com.
Can we play a little devil's advocate? Because you know everybody online's like, this is something bigger's happened. If it is people behind this trying to brainwash and make these people happen, these are the homegrown ones. Then the upcoming ones that came to the border are going to start doing this attack. What would be the end game? To get us into war?
But this guy's not a regular guy. This guy was a special forces
That's
guy.
what I'm
Rob,
saying.
Pull up the story, like breaking down. I just was reading through this. I think it's good for us to read it to the audience. It says, who was Matthew Livelsberger, the U.S. Army veteran named as suspect? If you go a little bit lower on the story I just sent you, it tries to see if there's any kind of a comparison between the two. Two nurses. In addition, Livelsberger Jabbar rented their vehicles. We know that. Authorities are investigating a possible link between the two. At the time they were fighting in the Middle East, the U.S. had around 100,000 military personnel in Afghanistan as part of Barack Obama's troop surge. According to CBS, law enforcement sources said that Livelsberger was on active duty with the Army, serving in Germany, and was on leave in Colorado at the time of the incident. His wife allegedly hadn't heard from him in several days. And Livelsberger spent 18 of his 19 years in the Army career with Special Forces. According to his LinkedIn profile, he is believed to have joined the Green Beret as a communication specialist in January of 2006 before becoming an operator. This guy's a BMF. The profile picture on the account shows a man sporting winter gear, armed with the assault rifle, standing on top of a snowmobile. His most recent role, November 2024, was listed as a remote autonomous systems manager for the Army. He earned a summa cum laude, an award given to the students earning the highest grade in their class. After graduating from Norwich University in Vermont with a degree in strategic studies and defense analysis, according to social media, also states he earned Department of State Meritorious Honor Award for interagency contributions that resulted in increased interoperability and efficiency while serving as the Operations Sergeant Special Operations Command Forward. Livelsberger often commented on posts from military personnel. In a comment on a viral post from Air Force veteran, he responded to a question noting that the government was responsible for making people believe they were responsible for other student debt. Okay, interesting. Erasing student debts was a signature Biden-era policy. At the age of 22, he began collecting clothes, toys, and educational items for children and disseminating of humanitarian aid while serving a tour in Afghanistan. He told the U.S. News Journal in the native Ohio, appealing to U.S. citizens for donations in January 20. He told the outlet, handing out humanitarian assistance continues to be one of the few approaches of gaining credibility and loyalty of the people of Afghanistan, and I believe you directly contributed to our success at ground level. His wife, believed to be Sarah, wrote on Facebook in May of 2016 that she was registered Democrat. She posted a picture of a graphic commissioned by the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee appearing to show Trump, which read, "Stop bigotry." She captioned so this is now, let's see where this goes. She captioned a post, "Perks of being a registered Democrat. I can't wait to slap this baby on my truck." She shared photographs of two together, posted almost a decade ago. In one image from April 2016, the pair posed for a selfie with Livelsberger sporting a camel backpack. In another July 2015, Livelsberger can be seen with a tattoo of a bald eagle and American flag on his shoulder as he posed with a dog. A Facebook account that appears to belong to him shows a heavily tattooed man holding a baby with its profile picture updated in September of it's just 3 months ago, detailed on Sarah Facebook page. Information released that age match report from officials. One page from it's my old ass husband's 28th birthday. Sources, the Bureau of very interesting. At this time, we are investigating a number of leads. I'm not prepared. Very interesting to see where they're at.
I have a
Adam,
totally different take that I'm going to bring
for it.
up there. So this is inspired by a text that Vinny sent in our group chat for the prep. And he said, it's January 1st, first day of the year, we already have our first terror attack. Boom. And I'm like, where have I heard that before? And it was actually 1 year ago on January 1st, 2024, where you basically sent the exact same text. And I was like, what the hell happened there? And then, Rob, I sent it to you January 1st in the morning, after midnight. There was an attack at the Kodak Center in Rochester, New York, when 1,000 guests were attending a New Year's Eve concert. Here it is right here. This guy rented a 2023 Ford Expedition with gasoline canisters and basically drove it into this concert. I think, how many people died? 9 people died, I want to say. But the point is this. What's the correlation there? And this had nothing to do with ISIS. This guy's American. Here's my opinion. Ready? The holiday season. Man, if you're going through some stuff, this is the worst time to be alone. This is the worst time to have issues. PBD, you'll remember this. November of 2019. I text you. I say, PBD, are you going to be in Nalba in Dallas? You said, no, I'm not. I'm not going to be there.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to be in town.
This is when you were going through challenges?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I got to see you. And at the time, my father had just died. And my girlfriend, who I was living with, was facing cancer, struggling with cancer. So I met with you. That was November. And that Christmas was the lowest point of my life. Lowest point of my life. Why? Because usually I go spend Thanksgiving with the girl that I'm dating's family. And we had just she's dealing with treatment. Then Christmas, I haven't dated a Jewish girl in like over a decade, so usually I'm with my girlfriend's family, in this particular instance in Detroit. And I couldn't go visit her because she's dealing with chemo and everything with that. So, you know me, I'm out, I'm about, I'm having a good time, very jovial, have friends. Never in my life have I dealt with depression like I did on Christmas of 2019. Never in my life. Now, nothing drastic like this. And that's for someone who's got things going on in their life, successful, good connections, good mental health. But dealing with the loss of my father, but especially with my girlfriend at the time, was dealing with cancer, the lowest point of my life. So take these people's situations. The first guy, what? Divorce, financial situations, struggling, who knows what's going on. There's a reason that they do it right around January 1st. It's the end of the holiday season. They're probably by themselves. They have major issues, major health issues, mental health issues. All this is going on, and then boom, January 1st fireworks.
But Adam, to have ISIS and be inspired by ISIS, which started when Obama with 2011 withdrawing from Iraq and then arming the Syrian rebels, which basically sparked it. But
But the Vegas guy had nothing to do with ISIS.
That's the Vegas guy. But
No. Hold on, stay on this.
Yeah.
The guy last year had nothing to do with ISIS. But that's my point, is that there's so much going on, and then ISIS is the last sprinkle for this one particular guy.
That's a huge sprinkle. I mean, that's not a
regular
regular
but on this
sprinkle.
one case, brother.
Yeah, no, I get
There's
it.
other instances. There's no indication that the guy in Vegas had anything to do with ISIS.
We don't know nothing because they're not telling us anything.
Matthew Lessesberger.
Yeah, which
his name isn't.
But doesn't it strike you weird that Pat just did a freaking all that story on him? How do we know so much about these guys in less than 12 hours? It's like they're feeding us all this information. But when it comes to like assassination attempts, you still don't know nothing of these. Zero of these people. It's just weird how they just like, dude, we know this guy's medications, his wife, his dog. You know everything about this guy's history in less than 12 hours. But when it comes to that stuff, we don't know nothing.
What do you mean we didn't know nothing? We found out the guy that tried to kill Trump on the golf course, he served in Ukraine, he was out there basically being a part of that protest. We learned a lot about him. The guy that went on top of the roof, we learned a lot about him.
There's two things here.
When you say we didn't know nothing, that's not exactly accurate.
There's two things here. Let's go to the next story. Both tragic. I'm sure we're going to get more stories that's coming in here. The FBI has more pressure today. That lady's look on her face, the FBI person that, a lot of people are saying is a DI hire. You know why she sounded nervous? because a new guy is coming in town, and she's probably going to get fired. She's not going to have that job that she had before. I don't know. Was she with the FBI, Rob?
Yes, her name is Special Agent Duncan.
Yeah, a lot of this stuff's going to be changing.
Did you
here
see
soon,
the
but-
old
but-
lady?
But let me just give you this. That's a complete different thing for us to move on. The 81-year-old, yes, the 80.
She runs the New Orleans Police Department. 81-year-old grandma.
81-year-old
Well, you know, she hit
What
two
the
people
hell?
with her car in August. You know that, right? She hit
This
two
lady?
She
This is the lady that
her
runs
up.
the New
Her
Orleans-
name is Kirkpatrick. She hit two people with her car in August, and I'm not trying to be funny. Look that up, Rob.
Who is this? The Joe Biden of policing? What is happening
Can
over
we
here?
play this real quick, Rob?
Sure.
In order to conduct this,
She's 81.
he was hell-bent
I'm sorry.
Late 60s.
on creating the
Oh.
carnage
Who
and
said
the
81?
damage that he did. Because of the nature and the indices
You can
that we
pause it.
have,
Did she really hit
Look
two
up
people?
Ann Kirkpatrick
How old is
driving
she?
over two people. Go ahead, Rob.
It says she was born in 1959.
Okay,
So
and Rob,
65 to
Rob,
66
can you
years
look
old.
up Ann
the hell says
Kirkpatrick,
she's 81?
New Orleans police chief, running over two people in August? And then, by the way, she used to be the head of police in Oakland, where she was fired. Then she sued them and got a $1.5 million settlement.
So where did this come from? A news report, like according to a news report?
That's right there.
or-
Former chief
OPD
investigator for hitting two people while driving in New Orleans.
So she's under. Okay,
No, this
so
has happened
she's
a-
under investigation according to this news
No, this is
report.
August 5th. So I think it's
4
over.
months ago. This is 4 months. Go a little lower, Rob. Former Oakland chief is being investigated for hitting two people in New Orleans. The incident happened Saturday, and a woman was treated for minor injuries, and a man was uninjured. According to local reports, New Orleans police says a breathalyzer test returned with 0, and investigation is now being turned over to state police. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So, but going back to
She
the
is.
point, let me just make my point so we can get to the next story.
Yeah.
She seems very lovely, by the way, in that picture. But you know, she going through this story here. You know, it's crazy. I'm reading this book right now. I'm behind like so many books. I'm trying to catch up on the books, but one of the books I'm reading is called The Courage to be Disliked. Okay. And it says something very interesting in the book. It says a well, you know, a well, water well. Do you know what the average degree of a water well is, no matter what the temperature's outside?
What is it?
50
18 degrees.
Oh, wow.
Well, watch what it says. Watch what it says. It says, so whether it's whatever degree outside, the water well is always 18 degrees. And then it says, when you drink the water in the summer, because it's hotter, it feels cooler. When you drink the water in the winter, because it's cold outside, it feels warmer. Did you get it? So it's never changing its temperature based on what happens on the outside. It only changes the temperature, never. You think, oh my God, so cold outside. Let me go drink some water from the well. Oh my God, this is so warm. This tastes so good. Oh my God, it's so hot outside, man. I need something cool to cool off. You drink the water from the well. Everybody outside of the water well is changing, but you're staying the same. And in the book, it breaks down the Adlerian psychology. This is by Alfred Adler, the Adlerian psychology. Rob, if you type in Adlerian psychology, look what it says. And then put trauma next to it if you could. Put trauma next to it. Yeah, if you could do that. So let's see. Let's just read the top there if you could. Zoom in a little bit and put show more if you could. Okay. Alfred Adlerian psychology, also known as individual psychology, has a unique perspective on trauma and how it can choose to be affected by it. Trauma is not a cause. Adler believed that people don't suffer from the shock of trauma, but instead make meaning of their experiences to suit their purposes. Meaning like, my life is so hard because you don't know what I went through. I'm going through these challenges because nobody ever supports me and da-da-da-da-da. It's like that guy on Manek that said, this guy came to me, this guy did this, my last partner took $75,000 from me and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And I respond back to him, I say, you're not going to like this message here. If everybody around you is taking advantage of you, you, my friend, are a crap magnet. The problem isn't the people, it's you, okay? Watch what he continues to explain here. He believes that people are self-determined by the meaning they give to their experiences. People choose how trauma affects them. Adler believed that people choose how trauma affects their present and future lives rather than being defined by it.
Wow.
He believed that people use their past or other circumstances to justify their behavior. Trauma is misunderstood. Adler believed that trauma and cause and effect are misunderstood. He believed that assuming past events drive the present is a form of determinism. Adler believed that all problems, interpersonal relationship problems, therapy approach treating trauma that uses a range of techniques to explore personal problems with their sociocultural context. Adlerian therapists examine an individual's style of life to help clients process traumatic experiences. You know what this means? You know, the other guy made it in Hollywood because people around him, they just took care of him. That's what it was. But maybe that's your way of hiding the fact that you didn't work as hard. You know, that guy made it in sports because, you know, his father had money and that's why he made it into the next level. There's a lot of rich people that the kids don't make it to the next level. But it's an out. Well, he made his money because he's a con man and he's this, that. That's your way of, like I had guys in the insurance company that would blame. Every time my number one guy would win, there was a handful of people behind closed doors that would message me telling me about how bad of a person that number one was. I'm like, dude, relax. If this is your way justifying why he is winning and you're not, it's trauma. So what is this going with? I think we collectively, when you have a rough life, you have to try to find a way to let the madness happen outside of you as much as it happens. And the hardest thing in life to do is for you to stay at 18 degrees. It's the hardest thing to do. Marriage, kids, family, finance, business, career, content. You have to try to just stay right here. Let everybody change. Let everybody lose their minds. You stay here. And eventually it drives people insane that they can't affect you. A lot of these folks that are going through these types of moments and traumatic moments, if they don't have somebody to talk to say, hey, bro, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's not as bad as you think it is. I interviewed a guy that was a guy jumping off a bridge, and what happens the moment you let go of the survivors? They interviewed every single person that ever made a jump off the Bay Bridge. And the ones that lived. Every one of them said the moment you let go, you regret your decision. The moment.
Wow. Not on the way down.
No. They said the moment you let go, you're like, what am I doing? It's not worth it. You start thinking about your mom, your dad, your kids, your family, everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I just think we need to go back to finding ways to increase the identity of the American people, finding ways to get people to realize it's not as bad as you think it is, finding ways on how for people to deal with trauma where you don't believe, like because of what you experienced as a kid, that's why you're not going to win in life. We all have dealt with a lot of shit in life, that it's our out to not have to give our best and escape it, fight, flight, freeze. Flight. Let me go do what I'm doing here right now. Join ISIS. It's my form of flight and suicide. Suicide is flight. Giving up is flight. Quitting is flight. Fighting's hard. No one wants to fight. It's tough. It's annoying. There's opposition. But we got to find a way to do it. And this for the right person, this message is going to hit. For the wrong person, you're distracted doing something else. I respect both of you guys, but if the right person received this message, maybe go order this book. It seems like a very, very interesting book that I can't put down right now as I'm going through it. Anyways, okay, let's go to the next story. And we got quite a few of them here as we're going through this. So next story I want to go through is California. New California regulation requires insurance companies to offer coverage in high-risk areas. This is very problematic, guys. It sounds like a noble thing the state is doing. Again, they're making a mistake that's going to end up hurting citizens. Let me read this to you. California Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara announced a new regulation requiring insurers to offer coverage in wildfire-prone areas, mandating companies write policies covering 85% of their statewide market share in high-risk regions with 5% increments every 2 years. Lara called it a historic moment for California, stating Californians deserve a reliable insurance market that doesn't retreat from communities most vulnerable to wildfires and climate change. Yeah, okay, you think you're going to make that decision? You definitely don't understand capitalism. To prevent model shopping, insurance must use a single pricing model for consumers and reinsurance under the regulation. Laura explained the reform balances protecting consumers with the need to strengthen our market against climate risks, ensuring in-state consumers are not impacted by insurance costs for other high-risk areas like the Gulf Coast. Tom, I got thoughts on this, but I'm going to come to you first. Go for it.
So I'm going to get a little technical, but I'm going to do it in a way that people understand. Here's what they're saying. Hi, Vinny. You're the CEO of an insurance company.
Hi, Tom.
You insure a lot of people for their homes here in California, don't you?
Yes.
We've noticed that you have Done very well, State Farm.
Thank you.
And you have 22% coverage, market share of insuring homes in California.
Thank you.
Yes, you do. Well, our new law says that 85% of the 22%, which is about, call it 16%, you have to take 16% of the high-risk policies in the wildlife areas. And you're in wildfire areas. And then you say, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
I've done underwriting there and I don't want to insure those houses. I'd have to raise prices on the other people that I insure. Why are you forcing me to do this? Well, because otherwise those people in those wildfire areas wouldn't have coverage. And you're like, that's not my fault. I've gone to the insurance commission. I have a license to do business in California. Why are you making this my fault? Guess what? You know what the wildfire cause is? 2 key causes of the wildfire nobody wants to talk about. Number one, it was poor maintenance of the forestry edge areas where there's inhabited areas. Inhabited areas, why are they inhabited? Because they were given building permits by the state of California, by the countries, by the cities. So you built a cabin. Can I build a cabin here? Yeah, here's your permit. You built a cabin. Yeah. But there's been poor maintenance of the edge of the forestry and poor maintenance of PG&E equipment. Most of the fires that were up there were not random strikes of lightning or things. It was PG&E equipment sparking, old equipment sparking, poor maintenance and trimming of the forestry areas, leading to wildfires that took out small communities like that we've heard about over the last 5 years. But this is what they're doing. 85% of whatever your market share is, that's the percent of the policies you have to take in these regions. You know what that's going to lead you to do? Well, then I only want to have 5% market share in California, so I can only have a very small share of the policies in these wildfire areas. I'm sorry. I'm going to do that, or I'm out of here.
I was just going to say, I'm
going to leave California, which screws the other people in California who are getting it. And they call it model shopping. It's not model shopping. That's a word being used by the government to make it sound like the insurance companies are bad. It's not model shopping when they say, according to our underwriting, and underwriting is nothing more than looking at a large group of homes in the same area and deciding what you're going to do. And so now you've got this. And who's doing this? The California Insurance Commissioner, Ricardo Lara, because he has a problem. And you know what the problem is? People are trying to find insurance, and they're coming to the insurance commissioner saying, hey, up here where I live in this area, I can't get insurance. You're the insurance commissioner. Isn't your job to make sure insurance is available to Californians? Bingo. So that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to force it rather than go upstream to the problem and saying, why are there wildfires? Why have there been wildfires? What is the state's responsibility to keep the people safe? Bingo.
Wow. Okay.
So let me explain in a different way, and then I'll go and read this over to you on what has happened in California. So I Googled homeowners insurers leaving California. That's what I Googled. This is what came up for me. Many homeowners insurance companies are leaving California or reducing. State Farm announced March of 2023 that it would stop accepting new applications for homeowners insurance in California. And it also announced in summer of 2023 that it would drop, Vinny, thousands of California policies. Drop. Meaning, you have homeowners insurance with us, guess what? We're dropping it.
You call me, like the insurance company goes, yo, we're done with it?
They can do that.
What?
Yeah, all states.
At the end of your next policy, we will not renew. Have
That's
a nice
right.
day.
Allstate announced in November of 2022 that it would pause new policies for homeowners, condos, and commercial properties in California. So far, do you know State Farm? You've heard of them?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Allstate?
Yes.
They're leaving California. Let me read the next one to you here.
Jeez.
Okay. Farmers Insurance announced that it would cap its homeowners coverage policies each month. Other insurance companies that have reduced coverage in California, AIG and Chubb. You know, one day I get a picture sent to me from Chubb dropping my boat insurance. You know why? Because I was the captain manning the boat by myself, and Chubb said, no, we're not insuring you. You're not a licensed captain. I could in the state of Florida, but Chubb said, no, we're not going to insure you. What's the point there? Did they do the right thing?
Chubb?
Dropping the insurance for the boat that they were protecting for a man who's not an experienced captain. Did Chubb do the right thing?
Yeah.
Would you do the same thing?
What do you mean? Of course, if I was an insurance company.
Why would you do it?
Because you are more, if you're not the captain, the certified captain, then it's a more risk of you crashing the damn thing.
Why would you want to risk the money to protect me if I don't know what I'm doing?
That's what I'm saying.
And so it's a large boat with a lot of people on it. It could be hurt.
Watch what this company. There are then insurance companies that will insure you based on the collective health of all the employees at the company.
Okay.
So, for example, let me give you an idea. Say company's got 1,000 employees. The average weight of this company and height is 5'9", 250 pounds.
Fat people.
Well, and they're not healthy. They don't take care of themselves. But you are super fit. You don't drink. You don't overeat. You take care of yourself. You exercise 5 days a week. You're the healthiest. Is your premium going to be less or more?
More.
Is your premium more because of you or because of your coworkers?
Because of them.
Exactly. That's how this works. In the state of California right now, what this guy is saying is, we don't care. Whether your insurance companies are going to lose money or not in these areas, you better insure them or else. And this is a big victory for California. Watch how many more insurance companies are going to leave California. And by the way, you can't close your house unless you have homeowners insurance.
Oh, man.
So here's how it works. Here's how it works. The way it works is the following. Insurance company is going to sit there and say, at $8,000 on this house, we're losing money. Okay, what should we do? $13,000. But $13,000 for them is a difference between 8 and 13. What's the difference? $5,000.
$5,000.
What's $5,000 divided by 12 months? $400 a month, right?
Yep.
That $400 a month, is that a lot of money to an average American trying to buy a house?
Yeah.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what they say? You know what? I'm not buying a house. Sure. That's what's going on. So what they're doing is they're indirectly hurting realtors in the state of California from being able to buy a house because I don't know what the percentage was, 7% of people back out of buying their house because of homeowners insurance. So they're going all the way to the process of buying a house, 7%. It's like 1 out of 14 say, I'm out, I'm not buying this house. Purely because of homeowners insurance. This is a challenge California is going to be facing. What's the number? Oh, I'm sorry, I gave the number.
Well, this is Florida. It says 11.9%. I'm looking for California.
But what does it say for Florida?
11.9% of homeowners.
By the way, I believe that as well because it's 2 states that are experiencing this. It's California and it's Florida. Okay, and they both, the only difference is Florida's allowing you to compete. There it is. Look at that number right there. I said 7%, it's 7%. According to 2023 survey, California Association of Real, 7% of real estate deals in California fell through because buyers couldn't find affordable homeowners insurance. This is double the rate from the previous year. Double the rate from the previous year. This is such a terrible policy. When somebody doesn't understand capitalism and competition, politicians specifically, and they make policies like this thinking they help people, watch how many stories we're going to hear about in 2025 about homeowners insurance. Adam, I'll come to you last and we'll go to the next story.
Well, it's funny that you said that how many stories we're going to see in 2025. Let's talk about how many stories I actually looked at and I saved on my phone from 2024. So we all know that I've sort of taken a blue ocean strategy in my life. I haven't bought a house. I've played the stock market, bought crypto. I buy REITs when I want to invest in real estate. But look what's going on with the insurance and the housing market right now. Rob, you have those articles I sent you? Here's an article in the Wall Street Journal just earlier this week. Insurance and taxes now cost more than mortgages for many homeowners. I remember when I went to go move into an apartment in 2018 in Miami. I lived downtown, right next to your favorite building with the Heights. I know you love the Heights, PBD. And I moved in and I looking at the unit. Sick unit, amazing. I go, yeah, how much is the rent? $4,000 a month. All right, cool. If I wanted to buy this, and by the way, this is when interest rates were much lower. What were they in 2018? 2-3%?
3%.
I said with the taxes, expected maintenance, right? HOA fees and homeowners insurance, what will my monthly payment be? You know what they said? $8,000. I said, hold on. I could rent it for $4,000 or I could buy it for $8,000. Tell me why I should buy this. The realtor who's trying to sell it to my boy, he's like, look, bro, you should probably just rent. So what I did was just rent and then take that additional $4,000, bought stocks, bought crypto, boom, that's skyrocketed. Great. Obviously, the housing has gone up as well. I said, this math ain't making sense. So then, all right, homeowners insurance. Rob, if you scroll down to that article right there, keep going down. There's a graph right there. The share of average mortgage payment going to taxes and insurance has increased exponentially. Is this that article?
No,
Rob?
that's not. It's the same article.
Insurance and taxes.
Yeah, go a little.
Yeah, right there.
Right there, yeah.
So 10 years ago, it was almost 29% of your average share of payment. Now it's approaching 33%. So you said, hey, is that extra $400? Does that mean a lot to the average American?
Money to the average person.
That's 4%.
It's a lot
on
of money.
a $500,000 house.
Oh, no question.
So
about
Rob, and then I won't belabor the point, but go to the other articles I sent you. These are just the headlines. Okay. Boomers are buying houses, had it bad in the 80s. Millennials have it worse today. So the housing market is as expensive as all time. Interest rates are obviously not going down, even though when they cut the interest rates, didn't they expect the mortgage rates to go down? They didn't really go down. And then what's the other one I sent you? Young Americans are getting left behind by rising home prices and higher stocks. So if you're the average 25-year-old, 30-year-old, PBD, shout out to Manect, because I truly believe that Manect is changing lives with a multitude of different things. The most common thing I get is personal finance questions. Hey, man, I know you're sort of the money guy. Let me ask you a question about this. Let me ask you a question that you have no idea how many 20-somethings that are not married, no kids, they go, yeah, I'm thinking about buying a house. I'm thinking about getting into real estate. I'm thinking about, I go, why? I go, and I ask them, is now a good time to buy or a bad time to buy? They're like, I don't know. Everyone tells me I should buy. Right? Because the Realtors Association have done a great job of saying, if you rent, you're throwing away money. Not really. It's only throwing away money if you don't take that additional $4,000 like I did in that instance and put that into an appreciating asset. So a lot of young people are going to be faced with a lot of difficult decisions, and the decisions that their parents made or their grandparents made, like, yeah, buy a house, get a mortgage. Listen, bro, I firmly believe, firmly believe, if you don't have kids, if you're not married, if you're not worried about school districts, don't worry about getting a mortgage right now. How many years did Vinny be like, is now a good time to buy? Is now a good time to
The
buy?
whole 3 years I've been here.
It was not a good time to buy.
Still
and
not
look
a
at you now. You're an investor. You're killing it.
Thank you.
But the point is this. Is it easier or harder to become a homeowner these days
Hard as
with these
hell.
costs? So
Especially in California.
what's the definition of crazy? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different
think
results.
if you're single and you don't have a lot of responsibilities, yes, makes sense. I even wrote
I remember the Denver Post. I love that
came
article.
And interviewed and said, you don't own a house? No, I only rent. Why? Because I take the money I put on my businesses. However, is that the one, Rob? Yeah. How long? This is
2015,
a long time ago.
I want to say.
What
When
year
was
is
that?
this?
It says 2016,
Oh,
April
wow. It's
28th.
a long time ago.
But listen,
Yeah.
one thing I got to tell you, PBD, I know that you got amazing suits. I know you got it going on. You got to respect the orange shirt and the bell bottoms.
I love
here,
the
brother.
pants.
Those are true religion. Those are true religion.
Are you kidding me? By the way, that's where Tico used to go and play in the dirt all the
Get
time.
out
Oh, that's
here.
it?
Yeah, he just loved to do that. Anyways, all right, let's go to the next story here.
That
Steve
was actually
Bannon.
the first office of one of my businesses. So it's like,
Is that what it is?
no, I'm saying when most entrepreneurs start in a garage, I'm joking, saying,
But I do have one quick follow up.
Yeah.
Why did you firmly believe that? Because for someone like you,
for
how much
me,
money were you making at the time?
For me, I'm not taking money off the table. I'm purely, I haven't even raised money yet. We raised the first $10 million in 2017. At that time, we've only raised $1 million. No, for me, it was about putting money into the business that was growing. Equity. No equity grows faster for me. Like even when Michael Saylor was here the other day, and he's talking about here's what Bitcoin's growing at 49%, 42%, 29%. That's great. Our equity is growing faster than what Bitcoin is. So if your money that you're growing into your own business grows faster than any investment, I'm not going to go out there and do anything else. I mean, at that point, everything I'm making, I'm putting it back into the insurance company, eventually sell the insurance company for $250 million. That's the rate of return. But that's not neither are you the average person, neither am I the average person. The average person has a different story. The average person is trying to have a wife and 2 kids and stable in a place, in a house, and find a way that they can have a mortgage payment, and maybe the property value doubles in 7 years or maybe 10 years, and then they take the equity and buy a different property, and that's what the average person is thinking about.
Yeah, but I have one quick counter argument.
Yeah.
The average person in America is broke. 2/3 of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
So if you continue to do today what the average person does and get a mortgage at 7% and try to make a down payment and pay your maintenance, insurance,
I want to go away from this story.
I'm
We've
just
been on it
saying
for
the average
25
person
minutes.
is broke.
I got it. No, the average person, for sure, makes sense. All I'm saying to you is the story is not applicable to everybody. A person living in California right now who is thinking about buying a house, your policies suck, period. They don't favor you in the state of California. In some states, it makes sense because there's people coming in, so demand's going to go higher. how many people are moving to the net move to California is not what it used to be. It's not. And the people that are moving to California are moving there for the dream. And nowadays, you don't have to go to California to go into Hollywood. You can do it from Austin. You can do it from Atlanta. You can do it from anywhere. You can nowadays cast and do your, audition over Zoom.
Yeah.
You can do camera, video, and send it to them. So it's a different game. Let's go to the next story. Steve Bannon welcomes escalation of MAGA civil war following Elon Musk's insulting American workers. Again, this is a Mediaite story. Okay, so the headline is written from theirs. Bannon welcomes the escalation of tensions with Musk and the visa program starting the war room podcast. I think Rob, is this the one that I'm reading? Is it the exact same one, or is
this
something
is the one
else?
where he tells him to sit down and watch.
Okay, so let me just read this and then we'll play the clip. I think escalation is good. When we get down to it, remember that they're the ones backpedaling. Is this the one?
No, I don't have that clip.
Okay.
I have a separate clip.
Backpedaling, and like I said, when an enemy is in retreat, fix bayonets and pursue. Bannon, who advocates for eliminating the program, argued it contradicts Trump's immigration policy, including mass deportation. Laura Loomer accused. Okay, we know this one. Go ahead and play this clip, Rob.
I've said many times that Elon came and Elon's money helped organize the grassroots effort. In his engineering mind, he saw what the problem was as we saw it, and he supported it. And for that, he gets a place at the table. There's no doubt. You should. It's $250 million in June, not an entire cycle, in 5 months. But that dinner with Sachs and that check from Elon came at Biden's, when Biden, in the debate or right before the debate, and Biden, they kind of saw the numbers of where this thing was heading. They're recent converts, and we love converts. Hell, I'm a Catholic. We used to be in the convert business. Not so much anymore. We can't keep what we got. But in the old days, half the saints are missionaries. We love in converts. But the converts sit in the back and study for years and years and years to make sure you understand the faith and you understand the nuances of the faith and understand how you can internalize the faith. Don't come up and go to the pulpit in your first week here and start lecturing people about the way things are going to be. If you're going to do that, we're going to rip your face off. Because you can't beat us. We're not beatable. This army of the awakened is not beatable because we're relentless and we will never surrender and we will never slow down. And yes, if you go low, we'll go to the center of the earth. Because we're fighting for something that means something. We have meaning in this. This is why people watch the show. This is why people come to this show and all this great content people provide us. And Ben Berquam's down now, putting his life in danger again. Why do people do this? Why have they done this for years? Why did they do it for years at Breitbart? Why did when Trump started appearing in 13 and 14, we said, that's the guy.
You can pause it right there. Okay. So this is the H-1B visa. Tom, from the last conversation that we had on Tuesday, I did a whole episode on this, folks. If you haven't seen it, it's online. What's new on positions that you have from research that you've done? Anything new? Anything changed? Any new angles that you're seeing that maybe we didn't think about before, Tom?
Yeah, I won't repeat myself, but I've really dove into the origin under Bush Sr., and it was Bush Sr. in 1990 who took and I didn't realize how really crazy immigration policy was prior to 1990. I think it was like the National Immigration Act or something going back to the 50s, and it put quotas on each country on how many people could come to the United States. And a lot of people thought that was discriminatory, even racist. And so the H-1B was created in 1990, as you pointed out. But what happened? I think a lot of this is going on now. We got people fighting against people that makes the Democrats happy. That's not new. We've been covering that for 2 days now. But what's interesting is I think the real, and I'll say, villain in all this is another unintended consequence of a government program where the government puts a program in place, it's legal, and then people use it differently than you intended. That's an unintended consequence. Are companies breaking the law by using it to hire a bunch of people at a somewhat lower rate and say, but wait, I paid for your visa? No, they're not breaking the law. Can we look at that and say, is that moral or ethical? Sure, we can. We can judge that. Can we look at that and say, you're depriving, and guess what? Unintended consequence, you're depriving other people of having a chance to compete for that because you're paying less. Yes. And so I'm really on the page that the government from 1990 forward, this thing, like a lot of tax policy, this is at the feet of the government. And now you have one side of the government, the liberals, are using this whole thing to get the conservatives arguing with each other. And inside the conservative group, we're all arguing together. So I think we really need to go back. And so I didn't realize how broken H-1B was and exactly how much lobbying there was to keep it and how the bulk submissions were working. I didn't realize the depth of all that. And so my position is just how broken this is, and it's at the fault and at the feet of the U.S. government that needs to fix it. And Bannon, I looked into Bannon saying, because I was thinking, man, what's up with, man, he's pretty revved up here. What he's reacting to, there's sometimes when there's something happens, sometimes government, people, citizens, we overreact. We see something happen and we overreact and say, well, we need to go bomb those people. We need to attack those people before we know what's going on, and we get really upset. Well, then we need to go to Afghanistan and flatten it. Let's turn some sand into glass. Well, what's happened here, I think Bannon fighting for the American worker, and a lot of the things he's talking about is for the American worker. He's saying, scrap H-1B, throw the whole thing out, no reason for it. And it's like, wait a minute, we've always had a proper door at the border of the United States so that legal people have a way to come in.
You know what it makes me think about?
But that's my two
So I want to go through with you here, Tom, and I'm going to ask questions and let's process it. Audience, agree, disagree, comment below, let us know, and debate it out. To all the respectful people, debate each other out when I'm going through this. So, for example, what percentage of customer service 800 numbers for AT&T or Verizon or anything when you call are in America? How many of those call centers are in the Philippines, right?
or
Philippines
or
India or
95%.
Argentina or all around the world?
Majority. Do you have the number? It seems like a lot of it.
No, actually, I don't know it. Can you Google
90.
that, Rob?
90.
Okay, over 7,400 call centers are in the U.S., employing 50 or more employees. Okay, fantastic. I want to know the call centers that are not in America, okay? Call centers, what percentage of...
Rob.
What percentage of call centers are not in America? And the way I'm asking is that companies use that they outsource. So 34% call centers are not in America, which indicates 66%. Okay, so 34% that are not... They're where? Can you show more, Rob? Click on, okay, significant portion of call centers located overseas, particularly Philippines, India, due to lower labor costs. Okay, so if you're not for H-1B, guess what? That's only 500,000, of which is what, 65,000 a year with a plus 20 that you can put on that, so 85. This is millions of people that are out versus here. Can you pull up the cost, Rob, of hiring somebody to work a call center here versus overseas? So average cost of hiring, I don't know if this is a cost of hiring call center employee in America versus Philippines. It has to be there because some companies sell it to you this way. Okay, here we go. The average salary of a U.S. customer service agent is $22 to $35. While the counterparts in the Philippines are $8 to $14. Okay, this is a year ago. Look at that right there, Vinny. This is a year ago in call centers. So you tell me, a company like AT&T, and by the way, whatever next 800 number you call, I want you to ask them, where are you based out of? Okay. They'll answer to you. They'll tell you.
Do they?
Yeah, I always ask.
Of course.
Where are you based out of? Philippines. Oh, and they're very nice. So you mean to tell me in U.S., they're paying a third less in Philippines than they would in the States. And this isn't illegal. This is legal. So if you're not for H-1B, you can't be for this. But let's go even deeper. So if I hire an engineering firm to develop my, an app or whatever I'm doing, now we have to go and see how many of these companies that hire engineers overseas versus here. In Singapore, give me some of the countries, Tom. In Armenia, in
India.
Belarus, in India, in
You're correct. Right now, India,
top overseas.
India, Armenia, Brazil right now are really big for like dev centers.
What is the not? This is not call center. This is your hiring engineers.
You said apps, and so that's why
to
I gave
develop
you
apps. Yes, exactly what I want.
India, Brazil, Armenia, Romania.
Okay, perfect. So now watch this. So how do you stop that? Because the H-1B visa, again, is only for 85,000 jobs per year, new visas, and they expire, right? 6 years. Let's say we stop that. Are you not more worried about this? So how are you going to stop this? This isn't illegal. So how do we stop this? By the way, this is real jobs. The engineers from India, that's 74.9% of the 85,000, let's just say, which is what, 85, 75% is 66, right? 85, 70, yeah, 66. Not 66, 70, yeah, it is 66. If it's 66 coming from India, what I just gave to you right now is millions of jobs. Millions. Okay, if you go and look at the MAGA hat, it says made in where? It's made in America.
Okay.
But if you go and I bought a bunch of stuff for Tico for Trump and, stuff that I got in there, right? He's looking at it. Made in El Salvador. Made in this. Trump gear can be found built in other countries. Why is he doing that? Why are so many people doing that? Why are iPhones built in China?
Cheaper.
Or India? If we build it here, it's $1,400 more, give or take. We've done this before. It would be like $2,400 to buy an iPhone.
Correct.
If we build it in the States. In order to do that, you have a bigger problem, guys, in America. The moment we went off the gold standard, shit hit the fan. Bannon is a historian. The moment we got off the gold standard, shit hit the fan in America. Everything became about, and Nixon, as much credit as we give to Nixon, Nixon did a lot of, Nixon's the one that opened up China. Guess what? 52 years ago, you open up China, and companies realize how cheap labor is over there. Now try bringing them back. How do you bring them back now? Go ahead. You think big pharma lobbyists are going to be tough? Go ahead and tell people that are producing products that are in China and all over the place to come back here. This is not a 1, 2, 3-step process. And it becomes like California, Tom. And guys, I want you to tear apart my argument and see where I have leaks. I'm just trying to logically think about how we address this, because bring it back to California. What's California doing? California is saying, we're going to force you to insure houses in areas where fire happens.
We're leaving.
Okay, we'll do it. Rates went up 70%. No, you have to control the rates. Okay, no problem. We're out.
Yep.
So now watch. We're going to force you to make all the products in Apple phone be made in America or else. Okay, we'll do it. $2,800. Right. What?
Yep.
We're going to make you to buy these tags here. We're going to make you buy these shirts here. No problem. It's $148. What are you talking about? Everything becomes Chanel overnight. $800. So there is one to be loud and noisy and you're not going to do this to us. I get that because of the pride. Then the other part is, can we reason? Like, I don't know. Because if I'm really trying to keep the jobs in America, let's try to keep those call centers in America. Those are good jobs. $25 an hour. You know what that is? It's $50,000 a year. Those are okay jobs. You know, if you want to get those engineers that are going out there and developing apps in Armenia or other places, keep them here. How do you do that? You can't, because it's not illegal. I don't understand what happened with the H-1B on 85,000. Don't get me wrong, the abuse is there, but do we not want the talent? By the way, I looked up to see what are the famous H-1B visa folks in America. Do you know the CEO of Microsoft? Satya Nadella. He's an H-1B visa.
Yep.
Do you know the CEO of Google? Sundar
Pichai.
Hey, guess what? H-1B.
Yeah.
Do you know the CEO of Adobe? Shantanu Narayan? They're from H-1B. By the way, Do you think they got the jobs because they pay them less? No. What is Satya Nadella's net worth, Rob? Can you go type in Satya Nadella's net worth or salary? Oh, you screwed up the name. That's no, you are like
Santa Ana.
Yeah, what he put
Santa
Satya
Ana.
Dallas. No, what he typed in is a whole different story.
Oh, you typed Santa.
Yeah, but to me, yeah, $1.4 billion net worth. You think they're paying them less to save money? No. Do I think the abuse is happening? 100%. Do I believe the abuse is happening for cheap labor? 100%.
Yeah.
But if your criticism is going to be cheap labor, you have to go to cheap labor to what? To call centers. Okay, do it. You know what happens? What are you paying for your phone service right now?
But let's say $75 a month.
Okay, it's going to be $150 a month.
Yeah, see, and that's what,
that's what I'm trying to say.
I get it. No,
So
I get it.
what we're debating, but so then, how the hell is our median income in America the same as it was? I mean, we've grown a little bit, but not a lot of it. Average price of home price have exploded, not income. So the argument is right that we're losing jobs to these other countries, but instead of like arguing, you better or else, give your solution. How do you go off back to how do we get back on a gold standard? We've already opened up China. You think trade with China is going to stop? You think trade with these other Taiwan making the chips that were desperately needed? Do you think that's going to stop? We're in here.
Can I ask you a question? What's the percentage of the people that? But mind you, I'm America First. I know Steve Bannon. Like, imagine what he's been through. Just got out of freaking federal prison for January 6th, which he didn't even do anything. But what's the percentage of Americans do you think that are America First, pro-America, the hell with H-1B, the hell with that would be willing to pay the money?
Yeah, it's not. It's not about.
That's what I'm saying. What's the percentage?
No, it's not about. First of all, we need Steve Bannon to keep saying things
I respect.
like this.
That's what I
because
like.
What Steve Bannon's saying this makes you do is what? Let me go look at it deeper what he's saying. But what we need from Steve a little bit more is break it down. Put a 15-step process. What's your 15 moves? First, let's do this. Then let's do this. Then let's do this. Great. Okay, good. Now there's a plan. But then whatever you take money away from resources here, something else takes a hit. You got 4 kids. You say, I only got 20 hours a week with my kids to commit to one of their sports. You put 20 hours into one of your kids. The other 3 kids are going to be like, hey, what are we doing here? There has to be okay, I'm going to help this guy go out there and make the basketball team. What about the other 3? Then things dropped off. You have to know there is a so all I'm thinking about is we're all about America first. We're not about a organization. But what is America first? America first is America winning. I get it. At what cost? And whatever you think you can handle, can the average person handle paying 50%, 60% more for an iPhone? Would the average person be okay with phone prices going higher? Or rates going higher? Double customer service? That cost has to get somewhere. Margins have to be made. So, I don't know. I think the reasonable people need to sit in a room and come up with a plan to hash this out and doing their best to minimize emotions. And if somebody says, let's do this, what about happens with this? Let's do that, what happens with this? Tom?
I think you brought up something great about the emotions because over the weekend, it was basically New Year's Day yesterday, sorry. I was also looking at the numbers and the 500,000. Vinny, what is the most credible number that's given to the amount of illegals that have come in, say, the last 36 months since the end of COVID? The most credible number.
The most credible, meaning that the government's telling us?
Well, government, there's independent analysts out there. There's a lot
10 million is, which I think it's double that, but I'm just saying.
Okay, well, let's
just
say
10 million.
It's 10 million. So let's say there was 10 million people that have come into undocumented
illegals,
undocumented pedestrians, whatever you want to call them, so no one gets upset.
Yeah, whatever.
So let's say there's 10 million of them.
Yeah.
How many H-1Bs are we talking about?
In those illegals?
No, total. Second.
Oh, so what'd you say? 85,000 in 1 year?
It's 65,000 plus the additional 20 that they get to approve, which is always typically
let's
85,000.
say 85,000.
But right now, there's about 500,000 of them in place, correct?
That's right, 500,000 of them in place.
So in other words, the H-1B just struck me because I was using a number bigger than 10. I'll use your 10.
Okay.
10 million is 20 times the size of the H-1B argument. And I'm like, look, people are making points about H-1B and we can sit down and talk about it. But I felt like the emotion and the flames and everything on H-1B blew through the roof.
Yeah.
And it's like when people talk about, hey, we're really upset about teenage drinking in Texas. Meanwhile, the fentanyl crisis is 32 times bigger. I looked those numbers up too. Yeah. And so sometimes the emotions in an argument blows the roof off of the debate hall. And you really step back to go, wait a minute. Is H-1B process broken? Everyone agrees it's broken. Not everyone agrees on what the solutions are. But there's not one person on either side of the argument, including Elon Musk and Vivek, who are saying it's not broken. They're all saying, and I'm saying unintended consequences. I'm saying it's the government. So let's go back and fix it. And yet we're talking about something that at the least is 1/20th, which is 5% of the bigger immigration question.
Yeah, which is, to me, it's 20 million. So I went low.
That was my perspective moment yesterday. It was like, wow.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
So I'll just weigh in real quick. What's the book that Trump wrote? The Art of the Deal. Well, time to make a deal, baby. So I don't think this is actually a bad problem. By the way, I don't think the average American is waking up and thinking, what's going on with that H-1B visa situation? If you polled the average American and asked them what the H-1B visa was, they'd be like, yeah, I got no freaking clue. The average American.
They thought it was a virus. They think it's a virus.
Oh, we don't need one of those. But I do think that Trump, who is Trump aligned with? Is he more aligned with Elon and Vivek? Is he more aligned with Steve Bannon and the Laura Loomers of the world and the Stephen Millers of the world? Well, the answer is both. Like I said before last show, there's MAGA 1.0 and MAGA 2.0.
Do you have anything new
Time to make a deal.
New. Is it the deal?
I think he's going to sit down, make a deal with these two guys. By the way, if I'm Steve Bannon and I just got out of jail, the best thing for my personal reputation, for my personal brand, is going to war with Elon Musk. Are you freaking kidding me? Great for Steve Bannon, but do you really, Steve Bannon, want to go to war with Elon Musk? Horrible decision. He's saying, oh, yeah, we love converts in our church. But Elon Musk, you got to sit in the back of the room. Homie, I just gave you $250 million. I'm sitting at the front row. Stop it. Don't even play this game with me. So MAGA's going to have this conversation with MAGA 1.0 and MAGA 2.0. And we're going to see what's going to happen. But if you're the art of the deal, if you're Trump, you're saying that the system's broken. Bannon has a point. Elon Musk has a point. You'll figure it out, won't you?
I think so.
He will figure it out.
Is this going to be the issue that divides MAGA?
No,
Hell no.
But it is something that, again, you need more perspective to see what the bigger problems are. Okay, I'll never forget. I got back in the days, I wrote a Jerry Maguire type letter to an insurance company I was a part of. 9 points I suggested we improve the company. And a guy pulled me aside one day and he says, look, when you're dealing with the company that you're dealing with, $400 billion company, every year, instead of making asks for 10, 15 different things, what is the most important one? Make that ask, okay? And then go through that. Everybody has their own ask. This all of a sudden became a very easy way to pin people to be pro-Trump people, pro-Musk people. And that's exactly what the people on the left and the establishment want. Because behind closed doors, guess what people are saying now? Trump, you're right. Musk is wrong. And behind closed doors, people are saying what? Musk, you're right. Trump is wrong. And if those people that are saying that are influential people that are friends and allies, it's an issue. So my concern is for them to be able to figure this part out. Okay, so that's a whole separate issue. Let's go to the next story here. Let me see what I got here. Which story have we now? Okay, let's go to this. Xi says no one can stop China's reunification with Taiwan. No one can stop you? Yeah, he says no one can stop. Is this Rob?
It is. You'd have to read the subtitles are in English, but his actual...
Okay, go ahead. I'll read it.
两岸同胞一家亲，谁也无法隔断我们的血脉亲情，谁也不能阻挡祖国统一的历史大势。
Sure, everybody.
You rarely hear this guy.
But, Chinese says declared no one can stop the historical trend of the national reunification, one family. In 2024, China escalated military pressure on Taiwan, conducting near daily air and sea operations, 2 rounds of war games, and a naval show of force after Taiwan's presidential Lai Ching-te, labeled a separatist by Beijing, stopped in Hawaii and Guam. China warned against separationist act and vowed future actions if necessary. Tensions with the U.S. remain high as Washington continues arms sales to Taiwan under the Taiwan Regulation Act. Beijing, which has not renounced the use of force to claim Taiwan, imposed sanctions on the U.S. military suppliers and warned against U.S.-Taiwan military ties. Tom.
Well, what he's doing is while we're all being distracted by all these things we were just talking about, think about that. China is always very, very strategic about Taiwan. They are so strategic. They wait for elections. They wait for natural disasters. They wait for things, and then they drop the dime, make the call, make the announcement. And what he's saying is, right, in the middle of New Year's, where we suddenly get distracted by these terrible acts that happen here, and he says, no one can stop the historical trend. China is also very careful in how they communicate. No one can stop the historical trend of national reunification. So what he's saying, historical and trend, he's trying to say, hey, this is going to happen. It's like saying, you know what? So let's say you're going to make birth control pills and condoms. You have to be 18 to buy them. Oh, good luck with that. Teenagers are going to screw anyway. They're still going to mess around anyway. That's what he's doing here. He's trying to basically say, this is going to happen anyway. You might as well get used to it. And then he invokes a couple words here. Family. We're one family. And warns the Taiwan's president, Lai Ching-te, who visited Hawaii and Guam, and he said, those are separatist acts. So he's sending warnings out. Oh, you're going to go to Guam, which is basically a U.S. military base surrounded by very friendly people, in that community. And Hawaii, you're going to go basically to and then I think the U.S. Pacific Fleet is headquartered out of Hawaii. So it's basically, he sees those as military visits. That's what he's saying, PBD. Hey, those are military visits. Those are separatist acts. Y'all better get used to this. This can be one family and the historical trend.
So let me ask this question.
Very carefully stated, and he's drawing the line in the sand a little bit darker.
Question for you. Today's what date?
January 2nd.
January 2nd. Trump takes office when?
January 20th.
He's got 19 days left, including today's 19 days, right? Okay. Sounds good. What the hell are you going to do in the next 19 days? What can Xi accomplish in 19 days?
It would have to be fast and really freaking messy.
You think he can do it in the next 19 days?
No.
Okay. So you know what that means? There's nothing that's going to happen with Taiwan and China for the next 4 years and 19 days. Is that a fair assessment?
Yep. Unless we decide to let it happen under some EU-type treaty, it ain't happening by force with China.
Okay,
because
so let's just say he decides to do it.
We believe we're going to stand in the middle of that.
Let's say he decides to do it. How is Trump going to handle that if he decides to do it?
Heavily and definitively.
Heavily and definitively. What does that mean? Because we're not going to go to war. Trump's not a guy that wants to go to war.
No, but what are we doing? U.S. military suppliers. So it goes like this. It'll be Ukraine 2.0. It'll be Pacific Ukraine. We give $3 billion a week to Taiwan. They give $2.5 billion a week to General Dynamics to get all the war toys that we would be using if it was our men in uniform. That's what's happening in Ukraine.
So General Dynamics would like that. Essentially,
oh,
they would
you
like
kidding?
That.
You kidding?
But to me,
the military complex would love another customer, especially if their credit is paid for by the U.S. taxpayer.
Yeah. Why do you think a part of Xi is sitting there asking himself, why didn't they capitalize off the last 4 years with Biden being there to escalate, knowing that Trump is here? Do you think a part of him is sitting there saying, I screwed up?
Yes, because remember, China usually plays long, and it's like, is the clock running out and we played too long?
Because that's going
I'm with you 100%.
Because when he says no one can stop China, that one is us. He's talking directly to us. Who else is even interested in that situation? It's us. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's talking shit to us.
He is.
I have a hot take on China. China's a freaking mess. I think this is all a big distraction by Xi. This whole thing with Taiwan, I think Taiwan to China is Ukraine to Russia. Russia's economy is falling apart right now. China's economy, since COVID, you see what's going on right there? Do you see the article in the Wall Street Journal? By the way, shout out to the Wall Street Journal. They do a great job on this topic.
Yeah, we've been covering this for months about
Historic-
tearing down buildings that were overbuilt,
Historic
all that.
loss of wealth. What's going on? China's economy is burdened by years of excess. Here's how bad it really is. Here's what's going on in China. GDP is going lower. Debt is going higher. Youth employment higher. We've covered the birth rates on this, right, PBD? About how there's an aging population. I think they were just surpassed by India as the most populated country in the world. Declining birth rates. They had a massive housing bubble. How do I, as an American, know that the biggest company in real estate that in China is called Evergrande, right? Why do I know that name? Because they were building these ghost cities that nobody moved into. Rob, there's graphs down there if you want to show that article. Debt, bankruptcies, and historic loss of wealth. If you keep scrolling down, you see a couple graphs here. Here it is right there. What their GDP was supposed to be in 2015 and the 2019 forecast, look where it is now. Basically, 120, half of what it was supposed to be. If you keep going down a little bit further, China's working age population changed from a year earlier. Now they're in the negative right here. So China is basically, they've been called a paper tiger. They were a sleeping giant. They were awakened thanks to Nixon and manufacturing. COVID has destroyed China. People are on to China. Who the hell wants to take their business to China at this point? Who wants to deal with China? So the whole Taiwan thing, Tom, you said that Xi plays the long game. In my opinion, it's all one big distraction. And he's basically saying, hey, don't look at what a fucking shit show we are here in China. Don't look what we're doing with the Uyghurs. Don't look at how GDP is declining. We're worried about Taiwan. Just like how Putin in Russia, young people are dying, people are going to war, economy is crumbling, they're trying to evade sanctions. And he's basically saying, let's go, guys. We're dealing with the Nazis in Ukraine. It's all one big distraction.
But you guys brought up a good point. What a dumbass move. You didn't do nothing for these 4 years. China has been eating our flying spy balloons. They built 17. They bought land next to 17 of our military bases. They unleashed
a dumb move by who?
On him. He owns. But the Biden. You saw those photos that came out with Biden and Hunter and all them with China and all their guys. They have. Biden is in their back pocket. He's been in their back pocket. Why'd you wait? Now you're talking shit.
Wait for what though?
Remember that. If you want to take over Taiwan and do all this shit talking and do it, you should have done it in the first year.
Who? China?
China should have been. What part aren't you getting that I'm saying?
I don't know what Joe Biden has to do with China.
What do you mean? Joe Biden, to me, has been compromised by China. They could do whatever they want. They fly the balloons. They buying land near our bases. They unleashed COVID and no consequences. So why are they waiting for 19 days left to make moves?
Is this where he said, I've never met the business partners?
This is him saying, I've never met any business partners. This is the National Archives released this, Pat. They released photos showing then Vice President Biden meeting with his first son Hunter's Chinese government-linked businesses partners, again proving that he lied.
National Archives released these pictures?
Yes, they did.
When did they?
I think it was it last week, Robbie?
Yeah, 5 or 6 days.
Really?
Saturday, December 28th.
Yeah.
4 weeks before Biden is going to be gone?
So my point my point, Adam, is being this. Follow me. If you're China and you own Biden, you have all this information, you have dirt, you have everything on Hunter, why are you waiting for 19 days to be like, yo, nobody's going to stop us? It's what a dumbass move from a leader. You obviously own Biden. You can do whatever you want in our country. Why would you wait? That's my point. I would have done it a long-ass time ago.
Okay. Well, we need woulda, coulda, shoulda. But the point is this.
Well, exactly.
I don't think they're doing anything with Taiwan. My entire emphasis is that China was supposed to surpass the U.S. economy. What was it? China 2025?
Made in 2025.
Okay. 2025 is here, literally. Yeah. And their economy has tanked. Nobody wants to move to China. Nobody wants to do business in China. It's all one big distraction.
You're right, but both of you guys are right at the same time. You're right. Their economy is in shambles. What the argument we made is, I asked Tom, do you think Xi regrets not capitalizing off the last 4 years since Ukraine, Russia, Hamas, Israel, Iran, all the stuff that happened? Do you think he's sitting there saying, holy shit, here we go. Now Trump's going to come in, and if Trump wins, J.D. Vance wins 2 more. And how old is Xi going to be in the next 12 years? Xi right now is how old?
I think he's 70.
Okay, so if Xi is 70 right now.
That. How old is he?
71. In 12 years,
71.
he's going to be 83. Trump wins, Vance 2 terms. Now what? So he missed the opportunity if he was going to do it under his legacy.
Good.
That's all. No, we're not. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but all we're
good.
saying is that. So let me get to the next story here. So check this out. Teachers will no longer need to pass basic reading, writing, and math test for certification in this blue state. Let me say this one more time, folks. Teachers will no longer need to pass basic reading, writing, and math tests for certification in this blue state. Okay? Tell me how that makes
Can't wait to
any
hear what state.
sense.
I can't wait.
Tell me if that
What
makes
state is it,
any
PBD?
sense. Here we go. A
China.
New Jersey law,
New Jersey.
effective January 1st, 2025. All these people from Jersey. We know one too many of them, to be honest with you.
Sitting in the room.
By the way, it seems like half of the Valuetainment company is hired by Jersey because one of our HR guys is from Jersey, Matt, and I tease him all the time. So why do you keep hiring people from Jersey? Everyone's from Jersey at this point.
Yeah, because they're all trying to get the hell out of Jersey and move to Florida.
Removes, effective January 1st, removes the requirement for teacher candidates to pass basic skill tests in reading, writing, and mathematics to gain certification. Democratic Governor Phil Murphy, Rob, see if you got a speech of this year, sign a measure into law as part of the 2025 state budget to address teacher shortages, with Democratic Senator Jim Beach stating, we need more teachers. This is the best way to get them.
So just
They're
lower
not
standards.
teachers.
Yeah.
They're not teachers. If they can't pass, they can't teach, guy. What do you mean this is the best way to get them? The law, strongly backed by New Jersey Educational Association, NJEA, follows a trend in states like New York, California, Arizona, which have lower teacher certification requirements. NJEA called the testing requirement an unnecessary barrier to entering profession. Teachers in New Jersey currently earn an average of $81,000 a year, according to the NEA. It's so weird. So we dropped out of the 81 countries on the OECD, I think it's called. We're ranked 34 in math. And rather than raising the standards, we're doing the complete opposite.
Yeah.
Tom, thoughts?
I can't believe that he actually said that, that the NGEA called the requirement an unnecessary barrier to entering the profession. That would be like cardiologists no longer required to identify a heart in a lineup of internal organs. Yeah. What about that? That's a pancreas, sir. What about that? Stomach? Well, they're in the same neighborhood, so you know, we'll let you go in.
Potato.
Yeah, it says, what's this thing? Ow! Well, that's a scalpel. You're grabbing it from the wrong end. That's okay. So it's
That
like
is hilarious.
So, but I'll tell you, you know what? This is state here. Tell you what, this is what the states are trying to do. Do they have a shortage of teaching? Yes. Do they need to get more teachers in the classroom? Yes. But do they actually care about the quality of education?
That is wild.
No, they don't. They just want everyone. Remember the Democrats? It's like the Special Olympics. Everybody gets a diploma. That's all they care about. And by the way, I'll show you. It's also happened. We saw it happen in insurance, and it kind of shocked us. We took pride in the fact that PHP agents were trained and could pass their insurance test because there's a thing called suitability. That you would sit down, have a conversation with someone to make sure that the insurance you're recommending was suitable for their needs, their family. And by the way, if you tried to just push something through, the underwriter at the insurance company would say, this policy wasn't suitable. We're not approving this. So there was actually a check and balance in that. But check this out. Pat and I were stunned. I remember the conversation we had. Today, in almost all 50 states, you have to get a 70% pass rate on a 3-hour exam with your individual state that you live in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and Adam did that years and years ago. And he takes CE courses to stay
every
fresh.
2 years.
Every 2 years, stay fresh.
I'm staying fresh.
California felt that wasn't fair. And they reduced it to 60%. That now a passing grade was 60% to get an insurance license in California. This is real numbers. And we were sitting in his office because I showed him. I said, check this out, Pat. They've left insurance adjuster and bail bondsman at 70%. So to be a bail bondsman, you had to pass a test at 70%. But to be a life insurance salesperson with the complexity of life insurance, only 60. This is the state's thinking that they are helping people get jobs, but you know what they're really doing? They're messing with the quality that those jobs are going to deliver. They are stealing from the citizens that are going to receive services from teachers and in California from insurance agents by lowering the, they said, well, these people need to get jobs. But by the way, who's going to pay them in those jobs?
Yeah, exactly.
The state.
The state is.
The state. And in California, they lower the insurance license. All the insurance companies are going to pay a commission. It's not our problem.
That's going to suck.
But this is horrible. The net is the states. And by the way, they followed a trend in, let's go easy on New Jersey, New York, California, and Arizona, which have lowered teacher certification requirements. So ladies and gentlemen, 2 years, 3 years, look for the educational effectiveness scorecard that they keep on the states, and let's find out where those states end up with lower quality teachers. You know what that also does to cost of living? It raises it up because you, Vinny, and your wife say, you know what? We can barely afford private school, but what would the Catholic school charge us? Catholic schools, parochial schools usually have the most scholarship dollars, and it's usually the cheapest of the private school options. And you're talking about tightening up your belt, working 2 jobs so you can get better education for your kid. So they're ripping off tomorrow's citizens.
Vinny.
I just feel bad for them because you're going to be able to spot which one of those kids went to that Jersey school when you ask them, what's 5 + 5? And they go, chicken. You're like, okay, you went to Jersey, bro. Rob? That's Rob right there.
That's Rob.
That's Rob's mathematics.
Chicken little
Adam, do you have thoughts on this or no?
Yeah, look, I was a teacher for a year. People don't know this. Before I got into finance, and I was in between my hospitality nightlife days in my early 20s, I was sick of waking up at noon every single day. And I was like, I got to get a job that will enable me to at least wake up before 9 a.m. once a week.
Was this that
and I got a job
thing?
as a substitute teacher. And I actually really enjoyed it. It was really cool. I was doing nightlife stuff. And after doing it for a few months, there was Christmas break, winter break. And I get a call from the school and they go, hey, the second grade teacher, she's out for the rest of the year. Do you want to teach the class for the rest of the year?
I can't imagine you
I go, okay, sure. It was amazing. It was awesome. I mean, when I was a substitute, I did PE, I did art, I did math, I did science. But they said you got to have one qualification to be the teacher. I said, oh yeah, what's that? Oh, you need to have a college degree. I said, look at me, baby, Florida State, go Noles. Here we go, college degree, boom, I'm in there. So now they're lowering the standards that you don't even need to pass basic skills in writing, reading, and mathematics. Basic, not college, basic.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm reading a Babylon Bee article right now. So now, how many people do I run into? And I go, oh, you have kids? Where do they go to school? Oh, I homeschool my kids at this point. I ain't playing this game. Well, why do you homeschool your kids? Dude, are you freaking kidding me? What's going on in school? The indoctrination, not the education. How many people do you run into that do the homeschooling thing? How many people, PBD, you always advocate, hey, listen, if you can, try to send your kids to private school. Private school is expensive, so a lot of people are doing the homeschooling thing. But the lowering the standards, this is affecting the youth of America that we will not see for what? 10 years. 20 plus years. I'll tell you one more quick story. I'm with Vinny at the UFC, Miami, not this past year, but the year before. I remember we're there. Remember I was like missing my keys. We go to find him. This guy from New Jersey shows up, New York, I think it was Jersey. Hey, I love you guys. Bah, 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 bah. He goes, listen, I'm a retired cop. Been in the force 20 years. I go, it's my last year. He's like, I'm so happy to get out of here. I said, what's going on? What's the deal with the cops? He goes, do you know how much they've lowered the standards to become a cop? Nobody wants to be a cop anymore. Nobody wants to be a cop. I said, who are they accepting to be a cop? He's like, fat, sloppy, lazy, donut-eating dudes. I said, how's this going to affect the police force? He's like, it's not going to be good. So here's my point. You're lowering the standards for police. You're lowering the standards for teachers. What's going to happen to the safety of our citizens? What's going to happen to the safety and education of our kids? In Miami, we say this, no go, no go.
I want to ask you one question, though. Did any of your students ever call you a gay Jew? Tell me the truth.
Oh, my gosh.
What's your point?
No, you can't. You know what?
I just told you that I was a teacher. And
Adam
I don't want to know if the students were talking shit like the
Adam,
chat does.
Adam was a good teacher. You know what? We've got a video of this. He was a really good teacher. Today we're going to talk about percentages. This is a Bloody Mary. It's 72% tomato juice. So Adam applied a lot of life learning to help these kids.
Guys, let's move on.
You guys are killing me, guys. Welcome to the comedy show.
Let's go to the next
Where's
one.
the freaking
Let's go to the
vegetables?
next one here. By the way, here's Whitney Cummings.
In the tomato juice.
Taunting Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper on New Year's Eve, okay? And she's not slowing down. And there's one moment where she's like, oh, I just looked at Andy. Did I say something wrong? No, you can go.
Yeah, you did.
She did not hold back. Rob, play a couple of clips here. She shined on New Year's Eve. Go for it.
2024 election fried our brains. The Democrats couldn't hold a primary because they were too busy holding a body upright.
Ew.
Are we still rolling? Am I off? Go for it. It was amazing that the pro-choice party didn't give their voters one when it came to the presidential candidate. Kamala was forced on us so hard you'd think she was patented by Pfizer or Moderna, whichever one's. Oh, God. Andy just gave me a very scary look. No! I love going around the country because you see that Americans really are more reasonable than they would be portrayed.
Absolutely,
They're pretty great, and I'm
100%
playing bigger and bigger venues now. I thought being a mom would mean that less people would want to come see me. I'm now playing, like 3,000 seat theaters,
awesome.
which is about the viewership of CNN these days.
Well,
Not
nice.
this show, though.
Nice.
All eyes are on this show.
Wow, you're all
firing today.
Andy and I had a tour. We did like 3,000 people. Yes.
All right. By the way, do you
Anderson
think
Cooper
CNN, before they hired her, knew, all right, Whitney, you're going to say some stuff?
Adam, great point.
Because if they did, kudos to CNN
I know.
for having little brass balls.
I agree.
By the way, who used to host the show? That freaking redhead, rough-looking lady. Kathy Griffin.
Oh, the worst.
So can you go any further left? She's the lady that held up a Trump head.
And then
So
cried
shout
because she
out-
couldn't get work.
Shout out to CNN. Only if, you ready?
Go ahead.
What are the chances they're going to bring her back in 2026?
Well,
if they bring her back, that shows, hey, listen, we're ready to have this conversation. There she is, Kathy Griffin. I'm not sure which one's which, but
because
I think she's the one on the left.
You guys saw a reading of a teleprompter, so that means
But
they
Whitney
knew.
Cummings made some jokes.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Let's see if CNN can take the joke that they signed up for.
Well, you saw Adam. You saw Anderson Cooper. He didn't look like he knew it was coming. He didn't want to even look at the camera because he knows that they're full of what.
I think the teleprompter may have had like 10 seconds ago, the minute to go to
she's
whatever.
reading.
I think it had other things on it. I don't think they were ready for it because you saw Anderson turn and goes, "Oh, nice." I don't think they knew it was coming. I think
so you think CNN was blindsided?
I think for sure.
I think they knew she was going to be.
She was going to
sparky,
say something.
but I don't think it was written on the
Oh
teleprompter.
no! Now you're saying written?
No, that's what I'm asking.
Oh no, I don't think so.
Well, apparently, she was getting ready for a roast. Rob, if you could check this out, she was getting ready for a roast. Yeah. So she was practicing them here, which is kind of weird. Like they.
But by the way, the way she did it, and then on her Instagram post, she said, "Hey, say what you want to say, but I want to thank CNN for allowing me to come on and allow me to say what I said." You know what? I love it. I absolutely love it. What you say here, she. Honestly, props to CNN or something for letting me come. Let me go hog wild on a New York. No darts in my neck so far. New 20. I love it. By the way,
you got a dart in your neck,
you know
bro.
what? I freaking love it. FYI, win. It's a W for Whitney Cummings, a big W, but it's also a W for Cooper. And what's the guy in the middle's name?
That's Andy Cohen.
To him and to the guys at CNN. I had Mediaite, the editor-in-chief, flew out here from New York to interview me. They put me on a list of, top 75 thing that they
Most
do every year
influential people in media.
whatever. We did ours, the top 50 as well, which we'll share our top 50 here in a minute. But he came and asked me a question. He says, what mainstream media outlets do you watch? I said, I watch CNN when Scott Jennings is on, and I don't miss it. Anything with Scott, I want to see what he has to say. So you watch CNN? I said, no, I watch Scott Jennings. Scott Jennings at CNN is why I watch CNN. Then I said, I like what News Nation did last year when they had Mark Cuban, Dana White, Bill O'Reilly, everybody with Chris Como host. I thought it was a great event. And then I said, of course, I watch Fox. I like Jesse. I like the Five. I like the debates that they do here and there. But you have to know, the more you leave things to capitalism, people will adjust. They will adjust. The market's going to tell you when you suck. Jimmy Kimmel, the market's going to tell you when you suck. A story comes out okay, about what's his name? David Letterman, right? And Letterman says the following. Let me read this to you folks. And it's so interesting that we just talked about Kimmel and Leno and Letterman and Fallon, and then this story comes out. David Letterman says show business made him a worse person, found humanity living quietly in Indiana, okay? Reflecting on his career, David Letterman admitted that show business made him a worse person, stating, in show business, I find that I have pretended to be someone I'm truly not. In my life here in Indiana, I'm at home with my family. I'm probably the person I actually am. He added that the intense pressure and single-minded focus on his work left him without the humanity now he feels now. Letterman shared that his time on Late Business, which he hosted for 22 years, was often clouded by feelings of inadequacy and drinking heavily in the 80s, 90s, saying, you take Johnny Carson, there's never going to be anybody as good. And here I am thinking, oh, crap, I'm not going to be as good as Johnny. Towards the end of his career, his favorite part was just talking to people, though the nightly comedy grind was really tough. Now, of course, don't feel bad for the guy. What's his net worth? He made a lot of money.
$200 million?
Yeah, he made a lot of money, and he was a star.
Probably closer to 400 or 500.
And all of that stuff that you go through. You chose to sign up for this job. What is it, $400 million?
$400 million.
$400 million bucks. He's
Cry
made
me a freaking river, David Letterman.
Yeah, and by the way,
oh my God, it's so hard.
But let me tell you,
wipes his tears
going
with his
back
$100
to
bills.
what we talked about earlier, the water well, temperature is what? 18. No matter what the outside is. You're not a robot. He's in it being pressured by people on the left, being pressured by everybody. He's like, oh, what do I do here? In 22 years, it's time for Kimmel to walk out and replace him with somebody else. You know who needed to read this article? The number one person that needs to read this article is Jimmy Kimmel. Go read this article. I am sure they've already spoken. If not, contact them. It's time for Kimmel to step away and bring somebody that's a non-bitter person, left, right, center, anything that people on the left or the right will like to listen to, because 90% of his job is going to be purely entertainment. Less than 10% is going to be politics. And if you do choose politics, make fun of everybody on all sides, not just on one side. That's what late night show needs to be.
You want to know the most interesting part of Jimmy Kimmel?
What's that?
Just as fate would have it, you know when his contract expires?
When?
The end of 2025. So based
22
on
years Letterman. There you go.
Yeah. So based on your
they will
analysis,
not, they will not renew.
They're not going to renew this.
If I'm a betting man,
it's under contract until 2025.
I am a betting man, and ABC, which is owned by Disney, if I'm a betting man, and Disney is seeing what's going on with the Kennedy girl, what was the Kennedy person? What is the Kathleen Kennedy? I think her name is. Is that her name?
For who's
yes.
This?
What is the lady with Disney, the one that making all these woke stuff that she's making?
Kathleen Kennedy.
Kathleen Kennedy, okay. That one right there that a lot of people fear in that business.
Is she part of the Kennedy legacy family?
I don't know if she's part of the Kennedy legacy family, but she is in that space. The direction Bob Iger has to go. If he signs Stephen A., with Stephen A. talking as much shit as he is about the left and Democrats, if he signs Stephen A. and gives that big, contract that he's asking for, and if they sign, they drop Kimmel and bring somebody else, it tells you capitalism is forcing Disney to get their act together.
What type of person would it take for you to watch consistently, not just randomly one-offs, a late night TV show? Like what type of person? Because clearly they're not going to bring in a righty, and they're not. If they have any sensibilities, they're not going to just double down on a Kimmel type.
I don't think they exist.
Is there anybody out there?
I think they're out there.
No, there's people out there.
I think
Imagine you bring in, like, just make up a name, an Andrew Schultz or a Marcelo. Maybe he's too young. But there's names out there that could, listen, in my opinion, late night TV, there's a wide open space for the middle ground.
Yeah.
Listen, come at me. I don't think Greg Gutfeld is the most talented guy. Likable, smart, okay, cool. Not funny. Doesn't have big guests. Nobody's going on to Fox News. Hollywood's not going to Fox News. But everyone is so.
Let's actually go through it. Okay. Kill Tony. Tony can't do it. He can't do it. You know why? Not that he can't do it.
They won't let him now.
No.
He's
not. No,
that's not his.
He doesn't have the what?
He just doesn't have the likability. He's an insult comic. You don't put an insult. You don't put Don Rickles to host a show. You're bringing him on as a guest.
Fair, but I think his show, for what he's doing right now, he's going to make the same amount of money and be free and happier. So yes. I think that's that part, right? Because some of these guys don't even want this job. It's got to be somebody that's a closet conservative that is willing to play the card, but internally also protects himself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and kind of wants this job. So, you know, I don't know if you understand what I'm saying with that. It can, so that eliminates so many different people, okay? Like to me, I think Marcelo's a libertarian. I think he loves America. His mom is Cuban. I think some of that stuff. I think
his dad is Dominican, of course.
I think he is. He worked here for a couple of years, helping you out with Saucecast.
That's true.
At the beginning. He was always, you know, he's a young guy that he has been non-political at all.
Yeah.
He doesn't touch politics. It's a guy like that, okay? It's not Hinchcliffe. It's even, I used to say Schultz, but Schultz in the last 12 months went hardcore. Okay, he did.
Hardcore what?
He didn't hold back.
Politics.
He didn't hold back.
That's what America needs.
But by the way, of course. But I also now don't think it's Schultz's job. I think after 2024, Schultz is off that list for them to go after.
Yeah.
So I don't even think Schultz is that. And I was the one that told him to his face. I think, you remember when I told him that?
I was right here.
Yeah. But I don't think it's Schultz anymore. And by the way, you know what it tells me? I don't think Schultz wants it.
Nope.
I think it's like, I don't give a shit. I'm not going to come and be confined in your place and be miserable. I don't think. I could be wrong. I'm not in the guy's head, and I don't talk to him regularly enough to know what he wants to do. But I think it's a guy like this guy. I think it's Marcelo.
You know, the only thing that sucks for us, though, come January 20th, we're going to have 4 years of Trump, and that's all Colbert, that's all Kimmel, all Bill Maher, that's all they're going to do.
It's not going to work, though.
I think the ratings are going to go up because that's all they're going to talk about.
I get that, but what I'm saying to you is, you know, like, it needs to be somebody that just take me back to the game.
Yep.
You know what I'm excited about NBA? It's for somebody to face of the NBA that's just, let us watch the game. Don't give me any political stuff, nothing. Left, right, center, nothing. Just play the game. Tom Brady was a conservative. You know what he ever did with politics? Nothing. He just played the game. Michael Jordan is probably a center-right guy. Deep down inside. Maybe wrong. He's probably a center-right guy. No one ever knew. But you play the game, okay? And it was fun to watch the game. Kobe was probably a center-left guy. But guess what? He played the game, and you enjoyed watching the game. This new era of entertainment, let me be entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Let me be entertained with this additional stuff. I think a guy like this would be the guy. I think a lot of people, it used to be a dream to be at SNL. It's not everybody's dreams right now. It used to be a lot of people's dream to be at, a late night show. I think those days of that being a dream is gone. It used to be a lot of people's dreams to win an Oscar. I'm telling you, a lot of people's dream of winning an Oscar is out the window because they don't want to cave to all the bullshit stuff of doing what they're doing. Vinny right now, Valuetainment Comedy, guys, if you're not following it or not, just 2 months ago was at 50,000 subs. You know what's happened with Valuetainment Comedy? It's at 215,000 subs, Valuetainment Comedy. 215,000 subs. And I'm willing to bet this Valuetainment Comedy, I told Vinny, in the business plan, I wrote 2 million subs before the end of the year. We said a long time ago, Valuetainment Comedy is going to be competing with SNL. It just is. You know what it allows you to do? Just be yourself, make people laugh, be respectful. You don't have to drop the F-bomb, suck this, suck that. You can just have funny jokes you're telling, entertain people, and have talent's going to grow. This thing went from 50 to 215 because Vinny's just having a blast making people laugh. And our crew who are non-actors are getting in there doing stuff that's funny as hell. I think comedy is going in a different direction, a very different direction, and there's a big market for it. But I think late night is for somebody else. I don't think late night is, and I think 90% of people that would love to have the late night show would be miserable if they had the job. I don't think they want it. It needs to be somebody that's like, listen, I'm not interested in politics. I really am not. I could care less about this stuff. Am I interested in life of politics? Politics probably number 7. As you age, politics does what? Goes higher and higher and higher in importance. You know what I watched last night? Tom, you know what I watched last night? I watched Johnny Carson last night.
Oh, wow.
You know what episode I watched with Johnny Carson? I watched Johnny Carson's episode last night. Johnny Carson's got a YouTube channel with 1 million subs, if you can go on it.
Yeah.
Johnny's the hardest working man in show business. Look at him, still doing YouTube.
Johnny Carson's YouTube channel, it's got 1 million subs exactly, if you can go on it, Rob. Yeah, right there. I watched Johnny Carson's interview with Billy Graham last night.
Really?
It's like 24 minutes, 29 minutes. It was awesome. It was awesome.
The preacher?
You know what he asked Billy
course.
Graham? He says, hey, Billy, this is probably a tough question to ask you, but have you ever watched X-rated movies?
Yeah. And they went The audience bursts. The laughter is one of those laughters where you're like,
so cool.
Yes, yes.
It was so cool. I love Johnny.
Yep.
I love Johnny. And I'm telling you, to me, for somebody to want to have this job, they even Johnny at the end, if you watch his documentary, he was miserable. When they gave him an award at the end, Adam.
Yes, sir.
When they gave him an award at the end, Adam, what are you doing? What do you want him to do?
No, don't worry about me.
What do you want to tell him? Tell him right now.
I just want to see what the most popular is because I watched the one with Frank Sinatra and Don Rickles.
That's the one.
So yeah, we've seen that. So when they were
20 million views.
This guy,
bro.
I'm
he's
sorry.
trying to talk.
What's the matter with you, guy?
I was just talking to Rob.
Then look at it on your iPad. You got an iPad here.
He's pulling it up. You want me to go?
This guy, go to the bathroom right now.
Yeah,
go take
go
a bathroom
pee,
break.
bro.
Listen, I got my Garshuk under here. Don't worry about it.
Middle of a conversation. So at the end of his career, even Johnny was burned out. They gave him a recognition at one of the interviews, one of the recognition ceremonies, whatever it was. And they took a shot at him because he had 4 divorces, he had alcohol problems and all this stuff.
Yeah.
He actually didn't like it.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen this or not, Tom. He didn't like it, and he came back and took a shot back at the person, kind of like a go F yourself type of deal. It's a very good documentary of Johnny Carson. I will say, with Letterman saying it, I do think it's a very hard job. You know why it's a very hard job? Let me tell you why it's a very hard job. So 5 days a week, you're responsible for entertaining people
And
late
be
at
relevant,
night.
Pat, and on it
And
all the
stay
time.
relevant with all the criticism and everything constantly. You have to stay happy 24/7 while you're doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm not sitting here feeling sorry for these guys. But to be on every day for that long and you don't have a break, like go take a 3-week vacation. You can't do that.
No. Hell no. They take maybe like 2 nights off. Johnny's not in, and Rickles filled in for him.
Yeah. Anyways, it's 11:30. We went 4 minutes over. Guys, this was actually a phenomenal podcast. Really enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like about it is the fact that Adam didn't take his typical bathroom break that he does.
No, I did. It just went in my pants.
So, anyways, today's what? Today's Thursday, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Today's Thursday. Do we have anything else going on this weekend?
No, we'll be back live Tuesday morning.
We'll be back live Tuesday morning, gang. Happy New Year to you. God bless. Future looks bright. We will see you guys again next week. Take care. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Happy
Bye-bye.
New Year.